Hello, Frank Skinner here. Someone said reading brilliant poetry is like opening a skylight in the top of your head and just feeling the cool, sweet, revitalising air come whooshing in. Okay, it was me. A brand new series of Frank Skinner's poetry podcast, now with added whooshing, starts on Wednesday, August the 2nd. Available from wherever you get your podcasts.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast with Lookers Motor Group. Land Rover Glasgow North has relocated to join Jaguar at a new retail space. It's game day, and this is the home of Scottish football. It's Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Good afternoon and welcome to Clyde One Super Scoreboard on League Cup last 16 day. Rangers and Morton start things off in the early game with 3 o'clock kickoffs to follow. Celtic travel to Kilmarnock tomorrow with the two Edinburgh clubs also in action after their European success midweek. I'm Andrew Maclean. Joining me in the studio today is Gordon Dalziel, Mark Wilson and Hugh Keevins.
Rangers Cup tie is of course on a Saturday afternoon, but the team has been chosen with Tuesday night in mind. I'll let Roger Hannah fill you in on the exact details from Ibrox when we join him there, but this is Greenock Morton with one eye on PSV Eindhoven. Michael Beale has a big enough squad to allow himself the luxury of rotation and clearly has confidence in his team to get the job done against Dougie Imrie's side. Rangers should join Aberdeen in the last 8 after their narrow squeak against Stirling Albion last night, and I fancy St Mirren, Livy and Ross County to join them there at the expense of Motherwell, Ayr United and Airdrie.
Yeah, quite a few interesting ties across the weekend, Mark, but all eyes on Ibrox to start off with.
Yeah, of course. Last 16 Viaplay Cup, and these are the games that the big guns need to negotiate to further their efforts and get to the latter stages of this tournament. And everyone, of course, wants to bag the first trophy of the season, but you have to deal with afternoons like today pretty swiftly. And like Hugh says, Roger will give us a team, but certainly rotation there and across the board. A lot of interesting fixtures. That's the Mirren Motherwell one. Looks a tasty one later on also. Yeah,
Gordon, Brendan Rodgers was saying yesterday that he likes the fact that this competition starts so early. It's the last 16 already. You know, lets teams dream about Hampden already, and it's still August.
Yeah, it's competitive. Everybody's on their guard of the upset. You've seen, as Hugh pointed out, Aberdeen went to Stirling. Should have been comfortable. Stirling scores a late goal, puts a little bit of pressure on. We know Aberdeen's record in the Cup lately, but there's some cracking games this afternoon. Morton, massive task at Ibrox, no doubt about that. Change Rangers side. St Mirren Motherwell, I think, will be an absolute cracker. Will there be an upset? Livingston at Ayr, can Mull team do it?
Yeah, loads of interesting games to come across the weekend, but there is only one place to start. Let's go to Ibrox and get the team news and some build-up with Roger Hannah and Alex Ray.
Yes, Andrew, as you were saying, the Rangers enter the League Cup between crucial Champions League ties. That 1-1 draw with Servette in Switzerland in midweek set up a playoff clash with their old foes PSV. The first leg here at Ibrox on Tuesday night. Michael Beale, unsurprisingly, makes 8 changes in a competition that Rangers haven't won in 13 seasons. It includes a debut for 20-year-old John Leafeco at the back, a first start for Dujon Sterling since his summer arrival at Ibrox, and only 3 survive from Geneva in midweek. Goalkeeper Jack Butland, midfielder Jose Cifuentes, and the stand-in skipper Connor Goldson. So Rangers start with Butland in goal. It's a back 4 of Dujon Sterling, Connor Goldson, Leon Balogun and John Leafeco. Midfield Jose Cifuentes, John Lundstrom and Kieran Dowell, and up top Sam Lammers, Cyril Dessers and Rabi Matondo. On the bench it's McCrory, Hadji and Lawrence, Seema, Ruth and King, Devine, Rice and Danilo. Morton, this is their first visit to Ibrox in 6 years with a 2-1 Scottish Cup defeat back then. They haven't got a point here, a draw, since a championship meeting 8 years ago. They've not beaten Rangers in any competition since a top flight win over Graham Souness's star-studded side at Capello back in 1988. And here's one for the Dazzler. The last Morton win here at Ibrox, 1-0, November 1980. The goal scorer, Jim Tolmie. That's his former strike partner at Manchester City. But this season, Dougie Imrie's men 4 wins from 6 in the league in Cup. They've scored 16 goals in those 6 games suggests they can pose a threat going forward. And of course at the other end, Kirk Broadfoot, a veteran of that 2008 UEFA Cup final with Rangers in Manchester, returns to Ibrox at the ripe old age of 39. And goalkeeper Jamie McDonald at 37, he played against Rangers for Queen of the South in the 2008 Scottish Cup final. Alan Power here at 35 said he won't lack experience, but Emery might lack players. Only 4 substitutes again for Morton here this afternoon. 2 changes from their defeat at Wraith. No Jai Katongo or Stephen Boyd in the squad. In come George Oakley and club captain Grant Gillespie. So it's Jamie McDonald in goal, a back 4, Lewis McGrath, Darrell Spawner, Kirk Broadfoot and Callum Waters. Across the middle, Cameron Blues, Robbie Crawford, Alan Power and Grant Gillespie. And up top, Robbie Muirhead and George Oakley. On the bench, Ryan Mullen, Jack Boyd, Jack Byrne I should say, and Alec King. The ref is David Dickinson. Unlike Stirling last night, we do have VAR this afternoon. The VAR is Gavin Duncan. And Alec, you won this competition with Rangers against Motherwell in 2005. Can they go all the way this season and give a first piece of silverware to Michael Beale?
Yeah, I think when you look at the personnel they have, they'll be looking to try and get to that final, as you said, Roger, and try and secure that first bit of silverware. And last 16 already, it seems as if it's getting quicker and quicker each year. But the one thing that Rangers need to be mindful of today is that they won't want to be the upset of the day. Dougie Emery's done a brilliant job, but as you mentioned there, 4 subs for Dougie. He's obviously got his work cut out. The starting 11's pretty strong. They've got a couple of options off the bench, but again it's about Rangers and the personnel changes from the midweek game with a view to PSV, and it's trying to get some of these guys up to speed.
The first thing you asked me when we arrived today, how many Rangers changes? You're not surprised there's been 8?
No, I predicted that. I thought there would be rotation. The games are coming thick and fast. And the demands, so you want to be fresh getting into that. But as I said, you can't be disrespectful to Morton. You have to put a shift in here. You don't want to be one of the ones that are going to get knocked out of the cup early doors. And it was quite a miserable day here as well. So you have to kind of go about your business diligently and try and get after Morton early doors. Try and get the crowd. It doesn't look as if there's going to be a big crowd here so far. So it'll be interesting to see if the players can actually get this crowd up today.
Cyril Dessers to lead the line, is that a bit about building his confidence or a bit about building his fitness?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of both. He's obviously missed a couple of opportunities. He came on the other night and did an opportunity to score as well, hit the post. And he is, I think he's still working himself up to 100% fitness. But this is an opportunity to bag a couple of goals, showcase what he can do, Lammers as well. So, Cifuentes was a real bonus through the week. I thought he showed good energy levels. John Lundstrom will come in at the base of the midfield as well. And it'll be interesting to see Sterling. We haven't seen a lot. I was fortunate enough to see him last year when he was playing in the Championship against Reading when I was there. Then you get young Ufenko at left back, showcased himself quite well during the pre-season friendlies.
Andrew, 20 minutes to kick off. Ibrox far from full. We're just desperate for the rain to stop. It's blowing right in on top of us at the front of the main stand. Alec and I are going out tonight. It's ruining our hair.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's lovely and warm in the studio, isn't it? So it's all terrific. Good and dry as well. It's fantastic.
Bad news for George Bowie there. No Jai Katongo. He was on Super Scoreboard last night, George Bowie, with his Morton kit on, and said that his main hope for the mighty Ton today was Jai Katongo, and he's not playing Dazzler.
Is Bowie going to the game?
Yes, he is.
Oh, he's a big Morton fan. He'll be excited today. That's a big occasion for him. Listen, I agree with Alec and Dougie Emery. I think since he's been into management in Morton, he's turned the club around. Fantastic job he's doing there. Big task today. But
yeah, just 4 substitutes for Morton. Not the resources that Dougie Emery would be wanting to go into this game with.
No, absolutely not. And Hugh touched on it there. Jai Kadongo, massive player for them. Morton's had a good start to the season. Viaplay Cup campaign so far has been good. And then the start of the league season, okay form. But teams like Morton need their full quota of players when they go to places like Ibrox, because there's no doubt it's going to be a long afternoon for them. Those starting 11 are going to tire, and when Dougie Emery turns round to look at his bench, he's not got an awful lot to pick from. But it's up to the boys there that he's selected to get the job done. And when you look at the 11, there's decent experience in there who's been over the course and distance before, none more so than Kirk Broadfoot at the heart of their defence. It's going to be a big afternoon for him.
Alex, you touched on it there, but there's always a lot of focus on Rangers fullbacks. Normally James Tavernier and Borna Barisic. Is it a big day for John Leafeco and Dujon Sterling? think we've lost them. I think we've lost them at Ibrox. We'll try and get them back. The rain has got to them.
They're
clearly
downstairs hiding.
That's probably it. They've gone down just to get a coffee.
I'm slightly surprised, and I bow to the two gentlemen to my left hand side, both former managers. I would have been tempted to go with my strongest 11, because Eindhoven PSV at Ibrox on Tuesday night is a massive game for Rangers. I'd have sent out the top 11 and let them do what they like to Morton and build up confidence that way.
Is there any an argument to say that in quite a busy schedule that maybe some of the players could need a rest? I know it is early in the season, but when there is so many games across a season, maybe some players do just need a rest.
I think we cut players far too much slack. The season only started on the 5th of August. We're not out of August yet, and they're talking about who they
The only
rest.
thing I would say against that, Hugh, and I know what you're saying, some managers do, the top managers do decide to go with the strongest 11 to build everything up, but it's a long season and there's a lot of squad players, and it's a massive squad now. You've got 9 subs in the league games. You've got to make sure you get game time into them as well, so you can pick and choose your games, because if there's a couple of injuries, you're going to need these squad players, and if they've not had any game time, they're doing catch up. So it's sensible. I totally understand, I take on board, but I think it's sensible. You've got a team there that's capable of beating Morton this afternoon, and it gives everybody a bit of game time.
You know what? I would actually go the other way, even further here. I would have expected a couple more changes. I would have expected Goldson probably to miss out. Maybe Leon King, who's on the bench. I know they've not had a lot of football. Tom Lawrence is there. Hadji's on the bench.
I suppose Tom Lawrence is coming back from a long injury, isn't he? But
Of
it's a
course,
good
but it's a
opportunity
good
for him to come off the bench.
to play at the start of the season. If he got 60 minutes under his belt, you even look at Roof, who's there on the bench, and you think, could he have went in? I get what Michael Beale's trying to do. He's trying to keep some continuity on the side with Goldson in there and Lammers and Dessers. But today's a good opportunity. No disrespect to Morton, but Rangers' second and third side is good enough to take care of Morton this afternoon.
But with one eye on PSV Eindhoven, it'd be too late after Eindhoven have won at Ibrox.
But they only played,
some of our players look rusty.
But they only played last Tuesday in an intense environment. It's not as if they've not played for 6 weeks. So
yeah, and you've got travel to take into consideration when you get back home and everything like that. I know what you're saying, Q. I think players do get cut a lot of slack now. It's just the way. But Mark's right. It's like playing on a Saturday. You've not got a game the next Saturday. You're not going to argue about, you didn't arrange a practice match for them on the Wednesday because they only played on the Saturday, playing the following Saturday. They played on the Tuesday. It's the same thing. They're playing next Tuesday. So it's the same recovery time and the same rest period. It's not like they've given them 2 weeks off. It's a week in between, which is normal for players.
All the games that Rangers play seem to, like last Saturday against Livingston, come in parts. Michael Beale spoke about the Livingston game being in 3 parts. They're a goal up, get another one disallowed because of VAR, and then go into a long lull. And with 12 minutes to go, it's still 1-0. And they get 3 goals in the third part of the game. I just think put them back out on the park. Servette was the same story. Michael Beale had to have a rant at half time in Geneva on Tuesday. Get them gelling together.
Do you put the same story in the paper every week? Yeah.
No, because
you mix up. There you go. Move on.
No.
Some would say he does.
And those people are all in the wrong. But we are, in my game and Roger Hanna's game, we are dictated to by events, and I think Michael Beale could have been dictated to by events today, because if Rangers don't beat PSV Eindhoven over 2 legs, who's getting the flack first of all? Michael Beale.
Is possibly some of the reason why there hasn't been as many changes as you might have expected, Mark, is that Michael Beale's trying to build something. He's changed the system this season. There's a lot of new signings, and while he's trying to make it work where it hasn't really as much as he would have liked at the start of this season, that having a bit of continuity might help.
I think so. It's got to be the only reason. I mean, guys like Dessers up front, who it's probably not started the way he would have wanted to and Michael Beale would have wanted it, but sometimes you get over that with the more games you play. So playing him more often than not, or sitting him on the bench, is probably the right call. Lammers as well. I think a lot of Rangers fans expected a lot of Lammers when they saw glimpses of him, and not quite hit the ground running when it comes to the competitive games. So it's a good opportunity for him. The one interesting one is Matondo. What future has he got at Ibrox? Because we were chatting last week about the lack of pace on the side. he then comes on, and you see a real difference when he plays. I just wonder if Michael Beale's now got him in his mind. If he puts in a good performance today, does he continue in Michael Beale's plans rather than heading out the door?
The only
at
thing
Ibrox?
is in the European squad.
I think you can change it from round to round.
From round to round, and
Oh, you
then
can
before the
change-
group
right,
stages as
yeah,
well. So
yeah,
I don't
well,
think the official squad has been released yet. I think you maybe find that
I
out
know
on
he wasn't
Monday.
in for last one.
Yeah,
I take on Mark's point. I do think Rangers lack a bit of pace. I think they need that. I think it showed up last week at home against Livingston when they brought that pace on. I thought they looked a lot better and sharper. There's 8 changes in that team. You know what I mean? You can't look at Michael Beale and say, well, I thought there'd have been X, Y and Z. 8 changes. Goldson for me needs game time, so that's a must. He's stuck with his goalkeeper. He could have changed that maybe, but he's stuck with his goalkeeper. But that gives the rest an opportunity.
one of the bonuses you'd say over the last couple of games for Rangers has been the early glimpses of Jose Cifuentes. I'm sure the Ibrox crowd will be looking forward to seeing more of him today.
Looks good, looks imposing, looks composed in the ball, can go forward, and I know his goal was chalked off last week, but gets in the box just before he actually scored his goal. He got it done at the edge of the box and it was tipped round for the corner, and then he's the one that gets in the end it and scores. So he looks positive right away. I mean, we've spent a lot of the last 10 days talking about Rangers players who haven't hit the ground running and we expect more from them. He looks like one who's delivered early on. It's early in his career, but he looks like he's going to be a good signing.
I wonder how much of a difference there is between him and some of the other signings. Michael Beale's talked about how a lot of the players he's brought in have had a disrupted pre-season. Cifuentes is basically in the middle of his season. He's been playing MLS football for the last 6 months or so. Will that help a lot, just coming into a side when you've been playing regularly?
100%, and I think that showed, because he's the one that we've all been saying has been a big plus. He looks the part for me. He stepped onto that pitch, he looks sharp, he looks fit, he looks composed, he looks like he's a very, very talented footballer. So I think the benefit of him having that 6 month under his belt. Now you may argue the point that if he plays a lot of games, by the time it comes round to next March, April, he might be tiring a little bit, but that's why he's got such a big squad that he can rotate.
On Lammers and Dessers, could it be a big day for them if they go out? Look, it's only 4 games into their Rangers career. I don't think anyone's making any sweeping statements at the moment. Rangers fans maybe would have liked to have seen more from them in terms of more goals or taking chances, but a game at Ibrox today against lower league opposition, what could it do for them going forward if they can really hit the ground running today?
I think Lammers has been a mixed bag for me. He shows good promise, and then you look at him in maybe a next game and he wasn't up to it for me. But the one question mark is Dessers. He's new to the club, right? He's a centre forward. We all know you've got to score goals. Now, he got off the mark at Ibrox in the European campaign a week ago, or whatever it may be. He's up against Morton today. You'd imagine with the width and the ability they've got in the middle part, they're going to create chances. So he'll be sitting in that dressing room thinking, I could really do my confidence a world of good here by hitting a few in the back of the net, and he'll get opportunity.
The crowd were on his case last Saturday against Livingston. Now, this is Glasgow. Snap judgments are what people do here. So this is a big afternoon for him, because this is lower league opposition. Rangers will dominate this game on a massive basis, and he's got to convert chances.
You're not changed your mind from last night? You're still going to upset George Bowie and predict that it will be a comfortable Rangers victory?
Absolutely comfortable. I'd be astonished if it's not over by half time.
What's success for Morton today? Can anyone see any storyline where
Respectability.
Morton...
Remember last season, was it in the Scottish Cup? They went to Celtic Park. They were incredible for about 15 minutes, Morton, and we were standing here watching it thinking Celtic are in real trouble here unless they get their act together. Celtic got a penalty and Morton, slowly began to crumble after that. So putting on a good performance, being resolute. If you get an opportunity, then of course try and take it. But Doug Emery, as I say, will be happy with his start to the season. And the old saying, it's their season's not going to come down to how they do here in the Viaplay Cup last 16 against Rangers. It's more about getting players back fit and continuing the good work they're doing.
What they'll certainly do. I've been there as a manager playing against Rangers at Ibrox in a quarter-final of Scottish Cup with Ayr United, and you look at your players and you know that the opposition are miles better than you, but what happens after it, if you can come out with there with positives, getting into the next league game is incredible, because the workload they're going to put in, the sharpness and everything, learning about the game, because you're playing against players that are a level above you. There's no doubt about that. So you've got to take positives as a team, as a manager, and everything out of the game today.
Morton are in it for respectability. They want to leave there with their dignity intact. They will lose, but they want to leave with their dignity intact.
Now, we don't want Doogie coming into the 7 club today here, because there's 2 members already in that 7 club standing in this studio.
Well, no, I wouldn't go that far, but he's in it for respectability, and I think the Rangers players are there for accountability. It's not the standard first team or anything like it, but it is the Premiership against the Championship, and Rangers have to take accountability.
How disciplined will Morton need to be today?
Very. Concentration is everything. You know, you can start the game, you can have a game plan, you can work your tactics out, your formation, how you're going to play, how deep you're going to sit. Dougie Emerald have went through that all week, make no mistake about that. But the problem is, players sometimes against other players switch off, and if you switch off, then the good players punish you, and all of a sudden you can find yourself in real trouble. Concentration today is key. Everybody working towards, the game plan, and try and keep it as tight as possible.
Well, it's a 12:30 kick-off at Ibrox. We'll hopefully go back there before it all starts.
And now a word from our podcast sponsor, Lucas Motor Group. The big news is that Land Rover Glasgow North have relocated from Maryhill Road to join Jaguar at Hillington Park in Glasgow. This transition allows them to provide a luxury retail experience that's convenient to all customers. There's a brand heritage display and merchandise area for both Land Rover and Jaguar, with interactive colour and trim display allowing you to create your dream vehicle. There's also improved parking access and a barista bar on site, so you can enjoy refreshments whilst exploring Lucas' extensive range of Jaguar and Land Rover vehicles. Start your elevated car buying journey with Lucas Motor Group and their Jaguar Land Rover showroom at Hillington today.
Action as it happens, and your reaction from 5 on the open line. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Not long now until kick-off between Rangers and Morton in the last 16 of the Viaplay Cup. Let's try and go back to Ibrox. I think there was some issues. Is the weather not quite great, Roger?
The weather's not great at all, Andrew, with the rain blowing in all over this expensive radio. Well, we're just waiting to keep coming out here, aren't they? Is this a game that Michael Beale could have done without? And is it certainly one that wants to get finished in 90 minutes with one eye for PSV here on Tuesday night?
Yeah, without doubt they want the game done in regulation time, Roger. I think you make a good point there, but if I'm the manager of Rangers at the moment, then you want match time for some of these guys. Now, Sterling hasn't played a lot. Yufenko, Rabbi Matondo made a real good contribution last week when he came on against Livingston. Lammers and Dessers still to hit top form as well, so it's a perfect opportunity whether John Lundstrom can play his way into the PSV thinking. And I think this is pretty much what the game's about today for a lot of these players, to showcase to the manager. Now, again, Connor Golson was playing catch-up due to his injury as well. Balogun gets another run out. I think he's been really pivotal coming back in after King got injured. And then Jack Butland remains in goals. For me, a really big performance in the first half in particular the other night. So, interesting to see how they go about it today. As for Morton, it's about staying in the game. I think the guys touched on in the studio for what we could hear about it. Stay in the game as long as he possibly can. Try and create an opportunity from a set play, because you've got George Oakley up front with Robbie Muirhead, could potentially cause some problems from that area.
The stadium beginning to fill up. Rangers supporters coming here this afternoon. Really looking forward to seeing new John Sterling in a start for the first time. Jordan Yefeko making his debut at left back. And we're looking forward to seeing what Sam Lammers and Cyril Dessers can bring, because they've blown hot cold so far, the Rangers.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I think you're right. I just touched on that, but the two full-backs will be looking to try and emulate what's happening. Embarrassment is the way the Rangers play. They like to get them high and wide. Dessers and Lammers have been fits and starts really, but I think it's about relationships as well. You're trying to prove to the manager you can play with Dessers, because I think Dessers is an out-and-out number 9 at the football club at the moment, and he has to get up to top speed. So the quicker he does that, that'll allow others to then feature and play off and round about him.
Michael Beale will hope he doesn't have to come to his bench this afternoon, Alex. But there is firepower there. Danilo's there, Jamar Root's there, Abdallah Sima, Yanis Hadji, and then the son of Tom Lawrence. Very seldom seen in the Latrell once in the Rangers journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Tom Lawrence started the season very well last year and then got that horrible injury which kept him out for the rest of the campaign. Good to see him back in amongst it. He'll be excited to try and get an opportunity to showcase what he can do today. The one thing that's very evident to me, Roger, at the early part of the season is that Rangers have real stronger in the depth of the squad. When you look at last year, sometimes you're thinking, how can he mix this up? and I mean at the top end of the pitch. He's gone out heavy, you know, and you mentioned there you've got Hadji, you've got Seema, you've got Lawrence, you've got Roof. So there's plenty of options. You've also got Danilo, who for me will probably start most weeks.
Inevitably this time of year, so much of the focus for Rangers falls on the Champions League qualifiers. It falls in the Premiership as well after that opening day defeat at Rugby Park. But how important can the League Cup be to Rangers? You won it in 2005 in the David Cooper final against Motherwell. It would give Michael James silverware, and it would deny Celtic any chance of a potential back-to-back treble.
Yeah, absolutely. It's because it's the first one, Roger, and I remember going back to my period with Alex McLeish, who says we really need to get silverware and also beat Celtic as quickly as we possibly can in the early exchanges in the season, and we managed to do that, so it gives you that belief. And then when you get a cup run, I think when you play for Rangers and Celtic, it's so important to go on a run, because what it does is it generates confidence, settles down the fans, and the opening result of the week against Kilmarnock really kind of put them back a little bit that front.
As we said a while ago, Morton, no wins here since 1980. You and I were in the school. Wilson was involved. Nash was playing in the Rangers reserve. Is there a chance for Morton today?
Yeah, listen, there's an outside chance. Did someone say it was Jim Tomey that scored the winner? Malpal for Denison. So listen, they've definitely got an opportunity, but if Rangers go about their business, I think they could run out comfortable winners.
It's Rangers against Morton, the second round of the entire play cup. We're getting underway at Ibrox.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Goal flashes. With M&D Green Pharmacy. Planning your holiday? Get essential health advice and medication before you travel.
Yes, underway between Rangers and Morton at Ibrox. Roger Hanna reporting from the bottom of a well there. I think
It sounded like he was on stage with Liam Gallagher at one point. That's the closest he's ever going to get to Oasis.
Roger was in the stadium, Alex Annisus. That's what it sounded like.
Yeah, I think I don't know whether that was the rain affected kit, but we'll try and get that sorted for.
Do you want me to put
half-time
on the tool belt and go over to Ibrox and start sorting things out?
I think you're the last person we should be sending near any sort of expensive
Fair
radio
enough.
kit.
Fair enough.
Yes, anyway, underway.
Predictions, Andrew, come on,
Ibrox
mate.
predictions, right.
I think we'll get this one right.
I will go 4-0 Rangers.
Mark?
One less, 3-0.
Yeah, 3-0.
Not a single goal for Morton, anyone? No?
Well,
No.
if Morton score a goal, there should be an inquest immediately in the Rangers dressing room.
Yeah, I think that for Morton, being serious, the lack of Katongo in there, Boyd as well not in, Oakley coming off the bench from last week and starting today. Yes, he's a physical presence, but he's probably not got the mobility of the other two. And like I think Morton's biggest threat, probably the man we've just seen camera there, Muirhead. He plays for a wider area, but he does shoot for anywhere if he gets an opportunity, and he scores quite spectacular goals sometimes. So that's your biggest threat.
Yeah, well, no real action so far. About a minute and a half gone at Ibrox at the moment. Morton, quite a big travelling supporter day. Support today for Morton. They are a great away day for Morton supporters.
Yeah, fans love a day out, and they love cup football.
It's about
the crowds
15 minutes up the road, is it no?
Well, nevertheless, you still have to pay your money to go on the train and pay to get in. What kind of mood are you in today?
They all don't live in Greenock here.
Well,
you know what I mean.
Whatever.
Like George Bowie's no went down to Greenock and then jumped
Maybe
the train.
a chance for Rangers here. Rabbi Matondo getting into the box, but it's a good save by Jamie McDonald. That's just the pace of Rabbi Matondo.
Tell you what, never mind the pace. What about the first touch from him? It's a great ball. I think it's Lundstrom, but the first touch kind of outside his boot, right into his path.
It's almost behind him, isn't it? And he just sort of flicks it in front of him.
Yeah,
could be a big day for a goalkeeper. He's a very, very experienced goalkeeper, you've got to say. He'll be talking all the time, that back line, trying to keep them, you know, concentration, make sure they don't go 1-on-1s on him. But he's a very good goalkeeper.
For people that are interested in these types of things, no James Tavernier, no Borna Barisic for set pieces. It's Jose Cifuentes taking the corners for Rangers.
Well, he's a big lad, Cifuentes, and we saw the kind of the trouble he can cause when he's in the box last week when he gets a goal that's chopped off. So yeah, surprised at that. His delivery was shocking. No, didn't beat the first man. the guy in the 6-yard box just volleys that away. So needs to be much better than that.
There's always a balance to strike when it is maybe a bigger player or a more physical player that's taking those set pieces, because you're having to take away, them from being in the middle of the box. It's a sort of balance. They must be good at it
Well, I
if
was
you're
going
taking
to
them away
say,
from that area.
you almost feel that they need to be exceptional or showed something special in the training ground for Michael Beale to say, yeah, he's our man to put it right in the money. But not on that occasion. Maybe he'll prove us wrong as time goes on.
You can see the pattern of the game emerging already. 3.5 minutes in, it's just shooty in for Rangers.
Yeah, Matondo going down in the box there, no protests, but Rangers just passing their way into the Morton box, but they ended up dealing with it. Leon Balogun with some defending to do and almost uses his hand there, looked as if he was going to, but it's actually good battling by George Oakley, wasn't it? Yeah.
That's brilliant play from Oakley. It really is. It's his job to try and take a bit of pressure off his defence this afternoon, get up the park. Balogun's a pacey lad, strong lad, but he really fought his battle there. All of a sudden he gives Morton a breather and they're right up the pitch, which is good news for Dougie Emery. But it's a big afternoon. If he's going to do anything, he keep himself up that pitch and hold the ball.
Yeah, not opting for a long throw, Morton, but they'll be hoping that when they do get set pieces in and around the Rangers box, that those will maybe be the ones they need to take.
You would think so. Opportunities like that, you'd thought they may have just went a wee bit more direct. Instead, what did they do? Threw it straight to a Rangers player and gave the ball back.
You see the ball at Butland's feet there, deals with it efficiently. He has been, for me, arguably the best signing so far. His work in Geneva in midweek was superb. He's a first class goalkeeper.
Yeah, a couple of huge saves midweek, weren't they, Gordon?
Oh yeah, especially early on when the lad went through as Dessers there. If he takes a touch, he's right in and goes. He must be disappointed with that. But going back to Butland, I think the crucial one was early on when the lad went through 1-1. Absolutely brilliant. What a night he had. I agree with you. I think he's been a terrific signing, good signing so far. And when you've got a good goalkeeper, you've got a confident defence.
Yeah, I mean, there was loads of question marks last season over what Rangers' goalkeeping situation would look like with Alan McGregor leaving. Was it going to be Robbie McCrory? Would John McLaughlin get his chance? But Jack Butland has nailed that down, hasn't he?
Without doubt. He's erased any doubts that might have existed in the minds of the fans. The first class goalkeeper. Robbie McCrory must be looking at him and saying, well, I'm going to sit here for another couple of years unless I go somewhere and play football for someone else.
Yeah, there were suggestions earlier in the window that Robbie McCrory was looking to move on. He's still part of the Rangers squad. He's on the bench today. Would you expect there to be any movement from him? He only signed a new deal last season.
Well, depends what his ambition is, Andrew. Really, you would think as a young man you'd want to go and play first team football, and it's really his choice. I'm pretty sure he could get a club, whether it be this league or down south, pretty easily. But of course, the draw of Rangers is too much for some people, and he may be happy just to play back up because the way Butland started, you kind of see McCrory getting in any time soon.
Yeah, me personally, I would just sit where I was and wait for my chance.
While your bank balance is increasing every week.
You'd be hoping they'd bring in another keeper though, so you could be the third choice guy.
I would
You'd be who's the Man City goalie?
Scott
Carson. You'd be the Carson, getting your photo taken with the trophy if you won it.
Absolutely.
Appearances zero.
Absolutely no doubt, Mark, and I make no bones about that. It's all about the candy. I'd have just sat there.
All about the candy.
I'd have just sat
Please
there.
never say that again.
A couple of hours training a day, bit of lunch, bit of breakfast, home. Saturday, you've even got Saturday off. What more do you want?
And you don't need to run a bit.
And you don't
go
pay again and watch your football.
I think they even did.
What a mercenary.
For any young player out there listening.
The words of a dedicated professional.
What a role model. I think they even, when he signed a new contract during the summer, they actually had him sat down with Pep Guardiola doing the handshake and like the official new contract thing.
Oh, listen, they're milking it, and I think they should. They've taken in good humour, Man City, even midweek where they win the Super Cup. There he is with a photo with the trophy again. It shows you all his honours he's won. What's it? 3 Premier League titles, the Champions League, a Super Cup, a couple of FA Cups.
You wonder how many medals
League
he
Cup.
actually gets though.
No, he can't. You need appearances.
Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
So
He'll be getting the win bonus.
Some competitions, it's just a certain number of medals that are handed to the squad, and then they're basically have to just dish them out amongst themselves. So you never know. But you'd be claiming them anyway.
He's got.
I don't know. I would just throw them out. That's what I normally do with mine. My 2 League Cup winners, they're in a dump somewhere. So I'm not even interested in this tournament now.
Your League Cup winners medal, is that in the bin as well?
Two
I
of
thought
them.
you.
I won one with Rangers and one with Wraith Rovers.
Why did I think you gave that to Wraith Rovers or something like that? Was that not in the Hall of Fame or something like that?
No, I'd have sold that. I was
Who would have bought that?
Oh, I've got offered fortunes for that medal.
Your League Cup?
Fortunes. And I thought, no, I'll keep that. Probably worth more money as the time goes on. You
Who
know,
offered
like
you money for that? Who would I buy that?
Business people and
Business people. What is a businessman
Sounds a bit
going to do with
sketchy,
your
doesn't it?
medal?
I honestly, at Story, I got offered a lot of money for that. And
What are we talking? What's a lot?
thousands.
It gives a figure.
I can't. Well,
Just because I've got a couple in the house.
Hold on a minute. How many times has Wraith Rovers got to win the League Cup final? And you've got the medal of the best player, captain, top goal scorer, guy who scored it, guy who won it. You know what I mean? How many times can you say that?
In that coffee.
You can say,
you said that the best player.
I come on with Dundee United and all that, and you won it with Celtic. It's not the same. I won it with Rangers. Nobody offered me that.
You realise that you bigging it up this much makes it even worse that you accidentally threw it out.
No,
You're putting all this value in it and then you just accidentally
He
know.
threw it out, but he managed to keep that woolen Ranger strip with the number 9 on it. How did that work?
For some reason, that wasn't under a bed.
Oh, for what reason? Who are you putting that on for?
Meanwhile, at the football.
Oh, the football. Go back to football, Hugh.
Yeah,
Quite
10 minutes in at Ibrox, still no real chances. Rangers have been in the Morton box a couple of times. Rabbi Matondo looking the most dangerous player so far, but nothing really created. I think Rangers fans
No.
would have been hoping that more would have happened by now.
Yeah, you're looking for one gilt-edged chance, and it hasn't arisen yet. But they're swarming all over Morton, and you have to believe it's an inevitability that the goal will be coming along soon. I think Gordon Dalziel picked out the moment when Dessers had a very poor touch in the box. If he takes a proper touch, he's in, and it's a goal. But he's still to find his feet.
Dujon Sterling, in one of his interviews when he first came to Rangers, was talking about, he likes to do his defending first as a fullback. He just had a couple of chances to cross the ball in there. First one was short, didn't make it past the first man, came back to him. The second one was overhit.
Yeah. Listen, I'm looking forward to seeing him, Andrew, to see what he's like, because Rangers have relied so heavily on James Tavernier over the years in that position. Very rarely does he miss a game, and he's got no choice. We've heard about him playing with injuries for long periods, purely because there's no real competition for him as well. But if this boy Sterling shows up well, he looks athletic, looks like a real athlete, then maybe Beale has got a choice in. And even if that is moving Tavernier one up in big games, and the European games.
Yeah, well, Michael Beale said when he'd moved to a back five towards the end of the Livingston game and had put Dujon Sterling in as the right centre back, he said something post match about maybe get used to seeing that, as if it's something that he's going to experiment with towards as the season goes on. Dujon Sterling looks as if he's suited to that sort of right centre back of a 3-year-old, doesn't he?
With that in mind, I mean, the modern day back three is really your outside defenders in that back three are kind of hybrids, centre halves and full backs. They're usually picked because they're athletic enough and quick enough to cover the ground to get out wide, and Sterling looks like that, and it would just free up Tavernier going forward. So if he proves himself today, I know it's against lesser opposition in Morton, then it gives Beale something to think about.
I like his attitude. First and foremost, he knows what he's there for. He's a defender. I like that. I think that sometimes the modern day footballer gets carried away with, well, I'm a full back, I need to go up the park and put crosses in. You're a defender. It's simple and straightforward as that. We've got a goalkeeping situation now, and the new trend that they come out, they use your feet, they're a part of the attack. But the most important thing for a goalkeeper is to save the ball going in the back of your net. So I like his attitude to that. I agree with Mark. I think he will be the right centre back in the three if Michael Beale swaps that formation, and he'll be comfortable going out to in.
Must be fairly exhausting for the Morton players, because not only have they stepped up a level, but they're just chasing shadows. The longer the game goes on, the legs are going to feel this.
But do you know something, Hugh? I agree with you, and it will be a long day, but they'll grow in confidence if Rangers keep their final ball. You look at Tammy McDonald's not really had a lot to do.
No.
I think Rangers fans would be expecting a quick goal here this afternoon. So I think Morton Dougie, if I was Dougie Emery sitting that dugout then I'd be reasonably pleased the way things are going.
John Leafeco is an interesting one because he is getting his first start today. Made a bit of an impression in pre-season. Can play centre back, can play left back. Also came from Leicester City, the exact same path that Calvin Bassey took. He'll be hoping that he can emulate what Calvin Bassey did at Rangers.
Well, he will be, of course, and you can see what Michael Beale's doing. You know, with Sterling on one side and Leafeco on the other. Then, you know, players that can play in a number of positions, even similar to that further up the pitch. But I think it's, you know, extremely effective when you've got players that can play right back or can change to the right or left of a centre half three. So again, big opportunity for him. Barisic has been the go-to man, but there's still question marks over Barisic. Even midweek, listen, he was fantastic when he gets in the final third. His delivery outstanding, but defensively, for me, always question marks. And again, Michael Beale has the opportunity now to look at Feco and think, is he the man that's going to fill that void? I know Yilmaz, how far is he away, Andrew? Is he quite a bit away?
I think he was meant to be back in training last week, I think Michael Beale said, but he's not on the bench today, which is an interesting one.
I think personally, when Yilmaz comes back, he might go in as the first choice.
You're just not a Barisic fan, are you? You're just not a
I think
Barisic
he's
fan.
fantastic in the final third, but you cannot deny, going back, he is a poor defender.
I'm not sure. Look, I don't think defending.
You've just said defending first and foremost. Just to remind you.
Well, there's a touch and a strike, and that was really smart from Cyril Dessers, wasn't it? To take it in with his back to goal, turned on it, volley, but it's a good save by Jamie McDonald, and it eventually goes out for a corner.
We have this saying right down the goalkeeper's throat, and that's one there, but it's great play, great touch. That's a fantastic touch.
We have this saying.
Me, Mark and Hugh.
I've never said that before.
It's a very well known saying in football, but obviously you've not been involved in that.
I've heard it before. It's as if you came up with it.
But great play with Dessers, great touch, great effort, and as I said earlier, I think this is a big afternoon for the goalie. Good experienced goalie, good save.
Well, that would have lifted Dessers' popularity rating no end, because he took it under control beautifully. You know, it's a great save from McDonald, and that just shows you what Dessers is capable of. And the Rangers fans will be hoping that the longer the season progresses, you'll see more of that from him.
That's tough to do, though, isn't it? Taking it on the turn and setting up for a volley.
Yeah, you've got to have that in your locker as a centre forward, because you know the defender's very tight to you. Your back's to goals. The most important thing's got to be your touch to take away from the defender, to take him out the game as well. It was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Only thing that was missing, I think he caught it too well, and it went straight down, as we say, the throat of the goalkeeper, who pushed it aside there. A good 1-2 from the keeper.
Tell you what, tough afternoon for Cameron Blues out there on the right, because Rangers quite clearly getting the ball to Matondo on every opportunity, and he's basically just walking past him, and once again stands him up, just walks by him, gets to the touchline, and almost an own goal.
Yep.
Yeah,
you'll remember those days, Mark, won't you? What
own goals or people just breezing by me? Exactly. I remember both pretty well.
Did you shout a little bit of help here, boys?
Come back and help me.
Where's the winger?
I told you the story before when we were playing in Europe, and Tony Mowbray put me back in the team against Hamburg. And instead of saying, listen, you'll do fine, you're playing right back and everything will be fine, he said to me when we were in shape, you're playing against this guy Elia, he was Dutch.
El Hero.
This guy's the fastest thing in 2 legs, so you better get all the help you can get. I thought, cheers, Gaffer. And he was right, he just ran by me all night.
Give yourself depth.
I was playing in the touchline.
I'm sure I was listening to a podcast during the weekend of football. I was talking about a manager, and they were saying, you would leave his office and he would make you feel 10 feet tall. That's just the opposite.
100%. I was
opposite end of the scale.
I don't think he had any choice. I think there must have been about 4 injuries the other right backs, but then Mowbray put me in, and I think he just thought, I've got no hope here at all.
Good save, Butland
there,
from
Robbie
a free
Muirhead
kick.
trying to catch out Jack Butland at the near post with a free kick there. Jack Butland had to be alert.
You called it, Mark. You called it. You said he would shoot from anywhere, and I thought that Rangers thought that free kick may get into the box and test him, but left peg, was it his left peg there? He just took a chance.
By the way, good ability. You ever see his goal? Was it for Scotland under, was it 16s or something all those years ago? He scored, was it for the halfway line? Always sticks in my head. But
he was at Aberdeen, wasn't he? Was he Muirhead at Aberdeen?
He'd been at Kilmarnock. I'm trying to remember.
Did he
exactly
go? Maybe not. Maybe I'm thinking another.
I mean, that's a decent
Muir.
save there.
Yeah.
You've seen it again. Butland just getting across. Good effort.
Yeah, came through at Kilmarnock and then Dundee United, Hearts.
Did you
I
not
think
go
it was
to
someone
Aberdeen?
else. No.
Nah. What, has he ever been in Aberdeen? An overnight.
That was a good shout. You just guessed, didn't you?
I knew it was up there anyway. Dundee United. I knew it was somewhere.
Rabbi Matondo's positioning is interesting because Rangers have, a lot of the criticism that's been thrown at Michael Beale is the fact that Rangers don't have enough width, and Rabbi Matondo is sticking to that touchline and then cutting in. We've not really seen a Rangers player, in the opening stages of this season that's been taking up those positions.
Well, it's so lopsided because you see Sterling given the width on the right, and you look at Feckle where he's positioned, and he's kind of inside left, kind of far in the field, with Matondo right in the touchline. So Michael Beale obviously playing to Matondo's attributes. Get it wide early, leave him 1v1, and it's been effective so far in the 20 minutes
we've
played.
Do you not think Matondo's been clever at reading the game, knowing that he's got the right back at where he wants him, so he wants on the ball? So if he stays in the touchline, the right back's not going to come right over the touchline and mark him. He's got to be in between, and he'll get the service. Yeah,
great play from Morton. Oh, what a chance that is.
Yeah, that's a real squandered opportunity there because the ball was played through to Robbie Crawford and he wasn't quite one-on-one because Ifeko was chasing back. Jack Butland had come to the edge of his box and he just gets it all wrong, doesn't he? He's still about 35 yards out, but he's then maybe thought about shooting and then he just ends up.
Is he an ex-Rangers player?
No, that's a different Robbie Crawford you're thinking of.
Unlucky.
Well, I tell you what, it's great play from Morton. The old up to the striker, back, and then the third man running Crawford. Times he's run to perfection on the halfway line. Rangers cut open. Feckle may have been getting over, but he probably could have taken that across Feckle when he was 1v1. Butland in no man's land, so he's lucky there wasn't a wee bit more quality because it was a simple finish.
I think he should do better. You don't get many chances at Ibrox. And when they come along, I think you've got to take. Morton are growing in confidence. I've been very impressed with Morton so far.
But I think Crawford panicked.
Maybe his eyes lit up.
Was he maybe caught in two minds as well? I mean, it went out for a corner, so it must have taken a nick off of John Leafeco.
Yeah.
I wonder the role of Butland. We've praised him. He's been outstanding, indecisive there. Comes out to 18 yards, then starts backpedaling. Of course, it didn't lead to a goal, so in hindsight, you could say, "Oh, it's the right decision." But I think with a bit more quality there, Crawford should have scored.
I'm going to cut him a bit slack. I think the defender puts him off.
Yeah,
I really do. I think the defender does well to put him off.
He snaps at it there.
Yeah.
He should have taken that cross. He'd taken across the defender. I
don't think he'd the pace, Mark. I really don't.
And if you don't have the pace, you don't have the belief to go and do it.
Yeah, I don't. I think that's and
he snatched at it.
But it was what you've got to admit was it was a very good opportunity for Morton.
The fans at Ibrox must be thinking a quarter of this game's gone. We've been all over Morton, and Morton are now coming into this match with a vengeance. And the goalkeeper Butland is to be congratulated for a great save, but here another chance for Rangers.
Yeah, the ball's played through towards Cyril Dessers, who
a free kick.
Yeah, a free kick has been given. He was just battling away with O'Connor there, who got ahead of Dessers, but he was just too physical in nudging him off the ball. He had rounded the goalkeeper and put it in the back of the net.
Andrew, see the problem there before that happens. Morton are in safe possession and they give it away cheaply, and this is where they're going to get punished. They give it away cheaply, needlessly. All of a sudden Dessers has got a chance, and be luck for Morton, they've got a free kick because that could have been in the back of the net. If you get the ball at Ibrox, you try and keep it as much as you can. You can't just give it away cheap to Rangers because they'll eventually break you down.
Do you think that was a foul?
I think Morton's got away with that there. I think O'Connor gets that wrong. I think he gets on the right side of the ball and then the ball just skids away from him, and Dessers very little contact and O'Connor goes down on his knees. I think he's fortunate to get away with that.
There's no infringement there for me at all. So the referee has been very lenient.
Stephen Presley was the greatest ever at that. As soon as he was facing his own goal and a striker would come anywhere near him, Big Elvis would just fall in the ball, and referees would give it all the time, because referees must have thought, well, why would the defender go down? Because he's last man, and nobody was ever near him. It was when you're playing against him the most frustrating thing. O'Connor, a wee bit of that there.
The defender went down because he wasn't quite sure where he was.
Yeah.
There is VAR in this game, but of course the whistle had gone before Cyril Dessers went through, and that's why Jamie McDonald had stopped, so there was no cause to actually go back and take a look at it.
Well, of course, this tournament, like last year, I take it, Andrew, some games have got VAR, some
do,
haven't.
some
Last
games
night, did that have VAR, Stirling?
No.
Again, we've got to bring it up again. It's ridiculous. A tournament where all teams are involved in either should all have it, or it should get to a certain stage where it should be introduced. You know, it just leaves so many grey areas if one game's got it and another hasn't.
I think it's just down to the clubs as well. Essentially, they just decide
understand
between
that,
them whether they're going to have. That's the system in play.
I take that on board, and I totally agree with Mark's argument about, well, it's either everything or nothing. But the way I look at it now is, look, if you get an opportunity to have it at Ibrox, you may as well have it. There's no point cutting off your nose to spite your face.
So Fuentes with a deep delivery from a free kick there just over the head of Cyril Dessers, who gives him a thumbs up for the effort.
Good delivery. That into the back post, curling in, loads of pace in the ball. Is inches above Dessers. Fantastic.
Oh, I think he mistimes
Mistimes it.
I think he mistimes it. I really do.
Fuentes couldn't do any more with
It's
a ball
difficult. It's difficult to judge. We're in a studio here in Clydebank. It's a long way to Ibrox, but on those TV pictures there, I think he misjudges it.
Not that far. You get the train to Partick and you get the underground.
No, someone would just give you a lift, Hugh. That's what it is.
Oh yeah. But I was directing the Dazzler.
He knows where it is, Hugh. I remember a couple of weeks ago he got the suit on and wined and dined, and he's in with the right crew now.
Did
by
we
the
ever
way,
get to the bottom of why you'd mysteriously just started going to games early on this season?
I just love the game.
I think he's getting back in somewhere. I think he's going to ditch us.
I just love the game, said the man who binned these medals.
Yeah,
he'll be back in a touchline near you sometime soon.
Doing some secret scouting.
I can see it.
Well, look, guys,
here's another chance.
Here's a
Rabbi
real
Matondo
chance.
driving into the Morton box. He's round Jamie McDonald, and it is a stop on the goal line.
What
Now
clearance
stops
that
Rangers
is.
going ahead. Darryl Connor does really well actually, because Rabbi Matondo looked as if he was going to sneak that in the near post after rounding Jamie McDonald, but the defender gets back, and it was actually going across the face of goal, wasn't it? It wasn't going in.
I wasn't getting in there.
Is it because of the quality of the opposition, or is Matondo showing that there's a lot more to him than the fans think?
Pace. See if you use your pace in the right way, Hugh, you'll frighten any defender getting about. There's no doubt about that. You will frighten defenders if you can get on the ball and use your pace in the right way. And this afternoon, Matondo's certainly doing that.
He'll have given Michael Beale food for thought last weekend when he came off the bench with Abdallah Sima, and Rangers crying out for width really in that game. The two players came on full of pace, full of energy, caused havoc for the last 12 minutes. Rabbi Matondo was at the point where he hadn't even made it into Rangers' European squad for the Servette games. That's why he couldn't play midweek, yet was one of the better performers last weekend and is probably Rangers' best performer today.
That's why I'm asking about the quality of the opposition. If Rangers were playing Celtic today and not Morton, would they be getting this degree
to be fair to Matondo, he can only do what he's doing just now. Taking the opportunity anytime he gets the ball, being positive. How many times have you seen people come in against lesser opposition and they play the safe pass and they go back and they're just happy to be on the pitch? At least he's actually shown his attributes. Now I do feel sorry for Cameron Blues because he's getting no help whatsoever, and Matondo's gone by him at every opportunity. But Matondo must be slowly working his way into Beale's thinking, especially when the team has lacked pace in this opening stages of the season.
I would concern me that if I was De Gemner. I'd be looking at that situation thinking we need to get a bit of help over there, because Matondo's just going by this lad like he's not even there. It's a hard shift for him. Matondo's got bags of pace, he's playing with confidence, very hard to play against, as Mark will rightly tell you.
What he needs is the boy McGrattan's playing in front of him. He needs him to just come and help him and 2v1 and let it go back to Efeko. But he's just leaving Blues
1v1,
isolated. Yeah.
They did better there in dealing with Rabbi
Yeah,
Matondo.
there was a
when they get the ball away.
2v1. Yeah, it was a 2v1. He'd know where to go. That's better. I think maybe Dougie's been out telling them, look, we need to get a bit of support here, or they're going to get undone. If they keep doing that and they keep allowing Matondo to get by him, he's got to get undone.
John Lundstrom losing the ball in the middle of the pitch there, just around 28 minutes gone. Will Michael Beale be disappointed with what he's seen so far?
Disappointed with the score being goalless. He'll be happy with certain aspects, certain individuals, but
not really tested Jamie McDonald too much apart from the Cyril Dessers chance.
Dessers had the great chance. He'll be disappointed because he simply cannot afford any nonsense like extra time, or worse still, not winning the match. So he'll be disappointed with the goalless scoreline as it stands. But surely it's a matter of time.
Do you know, I'm going to go. I know you're right to say that, Hugh, and I'm going the other way. I'm going to say brilliant Morton. I think they've worked very hard. They look very organised. Yes, they've gave up one or two wee half chances, but nothing that would alarm you too much. This is a problem here. Matondo's absolutely having a fantastic game down this left hand side, getting to the byline, putting balls in, different types of balls. Morton are just lucky they're defending it well, but 29 minutes on the clock, I don't think any of us in the studio would think Morton would still be 0-0.
No.
I tell you, the boys are right back. He needs to just, the next time Matondo gets it, at least attempt some contact on him, because he's that worried about his pace that he keeps backing off and showing him the line, and Matondo's going, thanks very much, I'll just stroll by you. He needs to then just go and make some sort of contact, attempt a tackle that makes Matondo's mind up, and makes Matondo do something. Matondo's just basically
Mark, as a full back in that situation, what would you do when Rangers get the ball? Would you go tight on him and be frightened of the ball in behind it would kill you, or would you just have that sort of a distance?
I'd change my tactic now, because I've gave up
so
about
you go and
four.
hack him.
I gave up four opportunities.
What Mark's saying is he'd say to the manager,
Get
me help. Second right back on.
Yeah.
Bring Oakley back for up front and stand him in front of Matondo for me. But no, in serious, he's got to then go tight. He's gave him about 4 opportunities of standing off him and backing off and thinking I'm showing him one way, and Matondo's just walking past him. He needs to then, as I say, commit. And if the ball gets played in behind him,
hope your centre
half's over.
Still 0-0 at Ibrox, half an hour in between Rangers and Morton. Morton very disciplined so far. They've not let Rangers have too many chances, and it is a case of really talked about those set pieces that, you know, Morton have had a couple of opportunities from corners and free kicks. They have had the ball dropped to them in the box as well, but just haven't managed to test Jack Butland.
Yeah, well, that time again it was Crawford again. You know, he's had the best opportunity for Morton, but just dropped to him and couldn't get it under control there. So Dougie Emery will be pleased, not just the fact that it's 0-0, but actually when they get the ball, they're looking much more positive than I thought they would have. I gave them credit for. I thought it would be a kind of containment job. But
well, there was that contact from Cameron Blues on Rabbi Matondo.
You know what?
And a yellow card.
Oh no! Oh no!
You know, you're going to say, you know what? That's the best thing to do. The boy will be off before half time.
Rabbi Matondo uses his pace to get by him, and Cameron Blues just pulls him back by the arm.
Well, that's an admission by the player that there's nothing I can do about this guy.
Well, Alan Power just maybe try to give him a wee bit of advice there. I wonder. Now, Dougie Emery's only got 4 substitutes. I just wonder if he's thinking about it.
If you want advice on getting booked from anyone, Alan Power's probably your guy, isn't it?
Yeah. The go-to guy. But, you know,
is that a worry now though, because we're 31 and a half minutes into the game, and he's going to have Rabbi Matondo running at him for the next
that contact hour. I was talking about, he needs to back off now. But when I said contact, I mean actually.
Where did it all go wrong at Brecon?
A tactical
attempting a tackle. I mean, once again, he's allowed him to take the ball by him and then pulled him back. Why not just gamble and try and stick your leg in and try and actually win the ball rather than being so hesitant?
Dougie Emery has to come up with a plan B, because eventually Matondo will go past him again and it will lead to a goal, or else he'll go past him and he'll take him down again, they'll be sent off. He just can't handle him. There has to be some other way, otherwise it will be costly in one way or another.
Yeah, Jose Cifuentes took the free kick from a really wide position, right footed. Was he going for goal there? Do you think he was trying to catch Jamie McDonald out, or did he just get it all wrong?
No, he got it all wrong. The set plays have been poor. That's where you miss the likes of your Taverniers and your Barisic. They two are the best in the team at set plays, dead ball situations. I think he went for that good ball in that a striker can go and attack and get a flick. got it all wrong. As I say, the corner's been poor, the free kicks have been poor, but here's this man again.
Yeah, Rabbi Matondo, it's cuts inside this time. Cameron Blue's just backing off.
I reckon the wee fullback is just comes over. I reckon at half time Dougie Emery will have his mind made up. He'll walk in, he'll press his belly button, his legs will fall off. He looks absolutely knackered, the poor lad.
It's easy, innit, sitting in this studio just slaughtering the right back.
I don't think I'm going out again the day. Gaffer, how's that? Belly button, boom, legs.
He's got, I think it's Jack. Is it Jack Baird that's on the bench?
Yep.
He's your defensive option on there. But who do you change? I mean, the days of Kirk Broadfoot playing in that position are probably long over. 39-year-old against Matondo might be a bit too much for Kirk.
Rangers did have a bit of a chance there, but it was actually Connor Goldson that got into a crossing position from open play. He was almost at the byline, just played the cross in. Sam Lammers went for one of those flicks at the front post, just didn't make enough contact on it.
Well, you know what, as much as we're having a laugh here and talking about Morton right back, Rangers haven't really created much, have they, in terms of the territory that they've gained over on this left side with Matondo, but a couple of crosses coming in for the right now. Of course, you've had Desser's chance where he touched and volley, great piece of skill. But the way Michael Beale has sold how he wants to play, you know, that kind of tight pass and everybody compact in the middle of the pitch and 1-2s, I've not seen a lot of that this afternoon in 35 minutes. It's been shipped wide and into the box that way. So again, I think Rangers fans will be a wee bit underwhelmed.
Dougie will overwhelm. Absolutely overwhelm. But the important bit of this game is coming up now. What a difference getting in 0-0 than getting in and losing a goal in the last 10 minutes of the first half, where you put so much work and effort and discipline into. So massive difference in that half time turn around, the change. And Rangers are starting to get a little bit frustrated. You see Sterling there just running the ball right out the pitch. So the frustration's starting to set in, because you're not telling me that Rangers supporters, players, everyone are thinking after 35 minutes this is 0-0 and we've not really tested the goalkeeper. Sam
Lammers has been really quiet, and his positioning is a strange one today, because normally he is the one in behind two strikers. Today Cyril Dessers is almost playing up front on his own. Rabbi Matondo's out on the left. Sam Lammers is sort of floating in behind, but just isn't getting involved at all, is he?
Well, I think that's reflective of how he's actually started his Rangers career. Daz touched on it earlier. Sometimes when he gets the ball, he looks like a nice footballer, looks like he can glide and pick a pass, and others he just looks like he drops out the game and is anonymous. I think when you play that position, Andrew, you've got to be at the forefront of everything. Your movement's got to be clever, your first touch has got to be great, you've got to have vision, you've got to understand when to go beyond your striker. And it just looks like he just kind of ambles about the game at the minute. This is the game here against Morton where he should be picking up difficult positions.
They're
for
all
Morton
getting
to pick
ragged
up
at the moment. You know, you just seen Efeco putting the ball out the park there. A minute after Dujon Sterling had done the same thing at the other end of the park. They've now gone into a ragged phase, Rangers.
Well, Emery will be delighted if he can see it this closing 9 minutes.
Wee bit of tactics there from the Morton manager. Brilliant. I like that. He's clever. He knows his players are starting to tire. He got the ball, it was a throw in, he held on to it, and he was just saying, right, give my players a little bit of a break here. They're getting a run around.
But that'll give Morton huge confidence. 10 minutes to go until half time. But if they can get in at the break level, that would be huge.
What a difference. It's some difference.
10 minutes today though will feel like a fortnight for them.
Yeah, you've been there and know the worst of going to the stadiums like this as a manager and a player. There's a clock there, and you keep looking, think, right, 37 minutes. 15 minutes later you look up, 38 minutes. It becomes a long afternoon.
Is that something you're genuinely quite aware of when you're playing? You're looking up at the clock quite regularly?
I'm not kidding you on. When I was getting beat by Rangers in the semi-final, right, I was standing there 7-0 down thinking, I don't think we're going to get back in. I looked up at the clock, there's 81 minutes to go. I thought there was a calendar I was looking at. I was counting the seconds away.
Bit better there from Lammers. You know, touch around the corner, intricate stuff. shouts for a handball, but I don't think there was any chance of that. But
Was that a handball by Dessers? It was
Dessers,
Morton players
yeah,
that
I thought
were,
it was a Morton player hit
yeah.
there. But a wee bit better from Rangers, sparked into life there, but just lack of cutting edge. So, but Michael Beale might have to use a few stern words again, like he did last week.
or use some options off the bench as well. He does have a few of those. Tom Lawrence, who of course has had a long time out, but there are so many attacking options on that Rangers bench. Danilo, Hadji, Lawrence, there's Kamar Roof, there's Abdallah Sima as well.
Yeah. I don't think, look, they're bossing the game, there's no doubt. It's just a case of when the goal will come for them. They're hoping it comes early. The only thing I will say is Morton, I think, are looking at the clock, because when they get the ball, they're just kicking up the park and giving possession away. They need to try and keep a hold of the ball, make passes, find Oakley up the top. He needs to stay high to try and get a bit of respite for that back four.
You know what? Just seen a glimpse of Kieran Dowell there. Totally forgot he was playing in this opening 39 minutes. Just not seen him. Oh, but indecision there. I think Oakley could have got onto that.
That's what I'm saying. They
Maybe
have
just a bit of miscommunication between Goldson and Jack Butland with the ball bouncing into the Rangers box, but Jack Butland ended up getting a hold of it.
Oakley was one that stopped though.
Yeah,
he just
I
stopped.
thought Oakley was favourite for that, and then just stopped and allowed
Was he maybe
Butland to
just
get it?
giving Goldson and Butland a bit too much credit, thinking that they'll sort this out between themselves?
I even thought when the ball bounced over them, he was still favourite to maybe get a nick on that. But strange one.
I think he's thinking one of these two will clatter me, and he's just come to a standstill.
Cifuentes
Much better
puts
that
the ball
from
in right to
Rangers.
do John Sterling, a chance for a delivery here, and that has been the story for Rangers really from wide areas. The
Final
delivery
ball.
has not been good at all.
Final ball, especially for on the right hand side. You're looking for a bit better. It's great build up play with Rangers, good passing movement. They eventually get the space out on the right hand side. He's got a few players to aim at, but to be fair, he's got a cut back on. He's got two players in the middle he can aim at, and he gets it all wrong. Lets Morton's defence off the hook there.
Just
Don't know
opted
what
for
he's
power,
thinking.
really,
Yeah.
and
I don't know
got it
what he's
wrong.
thinking there, because he doesn't even need power. He just needs direction. Either, like Daz said, cut it back, bit of finesse, or just feed it across the goal. And Dessers is there with a tap in, but he's chose to put his laces through it and drive it, and it's went over everyone. So yeah, a wee bit more composure needed by Sterling. He may be an out and out defender, but if he's going to play in this Rangers side, then he needs to brush up on that side of his game, because it's a
he did
huge
come
part.
through as a winger at Chelsea when he was younger, and then sort of
Maybe
progressed.
that's why he's not a winger anymore. Because winger's
We'll move
final
you right
delivery.
back.
I will keep moving you. That's what happened to me.
you start as a winger?
I started in my boys' club days as a striker. Then I went to midfield in my youth days.
That's pretty common though, that not so much these days, because being a fullback is more fashionable than it used to be, but a lot of fullbacks
Well, I
over the
made it
years
that way.
have started.
Yeah,
just tried
Did you start the trend? A lot of fullbacks sort of start as either a winger or a central midfielder or a centre back.
Well, I was a central
midfielder.
midfielder when I broke through at Dundee United. That's where I played my debut in the derby and man of the match, and then it was just through necessity. Our fullbacks were dreadful, so I got moved back there, and the rest is
I
history.
started as a winger.
Is that wing? But you don't have the football knowledge to play as a winger. 100%, just all pace.
Frightening down the wing.
I guarantee you'd be one of these frustrating players. You pass a body, you run 100 miles an hour, you run into people, you fall out of the ball.
I was Matondo with the end product, let me tell you. That's what I was. Bang, killed people.
Matondo without the pace. You were a sub.
Well, here is Rabbi Matondo again. Looked at this. Morton had doubled up on him slightly, but
Well,
once
that's
again,
better.
Yeah.
I mean, at least Blues can force him back. Look what happens. You just go back instead of him just walking by him.
let someone else take the booking.
Took them a while to work that one out.
Yeah, he's trying to go past Blues again. He does. The low ball into the box was towards Sam Lammers, but he couldn't get on it. Cleared by Darragh O'Connor.
Yeah. Well, they did it right the first time, doubled up. Second time, again, Matondo, he's having a field day out there. I mean, he must be enjoying his afternoon. When you get a lack of game time and you have a first 45 like this, you know, you're brimming full of confidence. You're wanting the ball every opportunity.
The only one thing I will say, Mark, is he's been brilliant in the fact that he's direct. He knows he's got the beating of the defender. There's not a lot of quality balls coming. See if I'm Dessers there at centre forward, and I'm seeing my wide guys getting the ball in the areas they're getting into. I'm demanding a better ball into the box. and I think he should, because he's there. He's the one that I'll come in for a criticism. Oh, he's not scoring goals. You've got to give him the opportunity.
George Oakley sort of bullied Leon Balogun off the ball there on the right side. Leon Balogun with the recovery, though. It's out for a Morton corner with just a couple of minutes left to go until half time. A big opportunity to do something.
Well, what a great chance to go in at half time actually in front, and Ibrox would then be bedlam. But Oakley did very well there, because he knew there was no one coming into the box to take delivery of his cross. And
he's done well for him here up top. Just put me in mind I need some sunglasses, but he's done very, very well. He's caused a problem or two. So Morton just need to be careful. Look, they would be over the moon if they hear that half-time whistle and they get in there 0-0.
By the way, I was saying before the game, Oakley up there, less mobile, and that might be a problem at Jai Katongo's. I mean, he's making me eat my words, because if anything, it's Balogun. It looks like he's struggling with mobility.
There's no food in here, so if anybody's listening,
this will rumble on the whole day. We'll get to this later on, but
we're getting to it early, giving people out there plenty of time. Let me tell you,
there's been
no food
there's
taken.
been a breakdown in communication with the lunches for
the corner here. He's dying of starvation.
Not at all. I've been to the supermarket at 9 o'clock this morning. I have my provisions with me. I have my pesto and pine nut pasta salad.
He's doing a 24 waste, this boy.
didn't ask the rest of us if we wanted anything.
I know, we're all stunned here.
Starving. If I called any of you at 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning, I know what it'd be like.
That's a fair point. Well, Rangers also have an opportunity here just before half time. It's a handball by Alan Power just outside the box, and it will be a free kick. No James Tavernier, there's no Barisic either. The two standing over it are, well, three there are now: Matondo, Cifuentes and Kieran Dowell. Cifuentes has been on
Cifuentes
he's been on set piece duty so far today, but it's Kieran Dowell was the one that put the ball down, which would suggest he's maybe going to be the one
that's a strange one, eh? If you're Cifuentes and the manager says you're our best set piece taker, so you're on the free kicks from wide areas, the corners, and then Dowell says,
but his delivery's been poor.
This also favours the right footer, doesn't it? But it will be Kieran Dowell to take, tries to reverse it, and it's a really good save actually by Jamie McDowell. It was a decent effort by Dowell.
Yeah, reversed, Daz was saying it suited the right footer, it did, but Dowell reverses it over the wall, it's gone in, no doubt about that. Oh, it's a smart save there from McDonald, just tipping it round the post. So yeah, good effort.
Yeah, the biggest test Jamie McDonald's had on the stroke of half time.
Well, the Dessers one was an equal chance. But if you're going to go to Ibrox and you know you're going to be swamped all afternoon, what a comfort it is to know that your goalkeeper's really got his eye in. The save from Dessers was terrific, and from Kieran Dowell even better.
I highlighted the goalkeeper right at the beginning of the game here. Experienced goalkeeper, been round the block. I'm not got to name any teams. Kilmarnock probably won.
Is actually, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Hearts.
Yeah.
There you go. I know his career
Dundee.
inside out.
Did he play for Dundee as well? No.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yes.
But Wraith Rovers. I think that
I was just waiting for you to say Morton.
Half time.
Yes, it is half time. Let's go to Ibrox with Roger Hanna and Alex Ray.
Half time at Ibrox. It's Rangers 0, Morton 0. A frustrating first half for this much changed Rangers side, Andrew. They've had most of the ball, they've had most of the chances, but they're still to break down a Morton defence expertly marshalled by 39-year-old ex-Rangers stopper Kirk Broadfoot. Robbie Matondo threatened early on with great first touch after a long ball over the top into the box, but a save from Jamie McDonald, the first of many saves by Morton's veteran goalkeeper this afternoon. Next to threaten, Cyril Dessers, a fantastic swivel in the box, a fierce shot. It looked destined for the roof of the net until McDonald pushed it out. Morton were a threat. Robbie Crawford should have done better than sclaf a shot wide as debutant John Lefebvre closed in and Jack Butland came out of his box. But Rangers soon back in the front foot. Dessers had the ball in the net, only to be hauled back for a foul on Dara O'Connor. Moments later, Dessers was claiming for a foul on the edge of the box, but with VAR in operation, both decisions by referee David Dickinson were backed by the VAR Gavin Duncan. Matondo threatened again. He went round McDonald with his next chance, tried to squeeze the ball in from an acute angle, but it was hacked off the line by O'Connor, who's been excellent at the heart in the Morton defence. Cameron Blues at right back was toiling against the pace and trickery of Matondo, and he was booked for hauling him back. And then just before the break, Kieran Dowell, a free kick pushed round the post by McDonald, with Connor Goldson, the stand-in skipper, then heading over from the resulting corner. Dujon Sterling and Ifeko in their first starts failing to provide the threat from wide areas of James Tavernier and Borna Barisic. Dessers and Sam Lammer struggling to make an impact in the game, and there's not been the creativity from Jose Cifuentes and Dowell that Michael Beale would have wanted. Dougie Emery and the big travelling contingent of Turn fans, they are delighted, but Beale's got much work to do at half time. He does not want extra time with PSV Eindhoven due here on Tuesday night. Half time at Ibrox, Rangers 0, Morton 0.
Yeah, how happy will Dougie Emery be?
Over the moon. Over the moon, Andrew. I think that he set out a game plan. Yes, he's getting problems down the left hand side. Matondo's on his game. Rangers are dictating it. But there's been signs there that they're growing in confidence. They're getting up the park. I think Oakley's been terrific for them. They look well organised. The shape's very good. They've got a terrific experienced goalkeeper who looks to be in form this afternoon. He'll be in that dressing room over the moon.
Alex Rae at Ibrox as well. Where has it not quite clicked for Rangers so far?
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. I think at the top end of the pitch they've just lacked that little bit of quality. You know, they've got in numerous times down the flanks and they haven't been able to pick out a colleague, and it'll be a source of frustration for Michael Beale. I think the standout player of the half is Matondo, but you know, too many times he is unable to find a colleague in the box. Dessers had one or two chances. But it's a bit underwhelming, really, you know, because you're looking at the amount of possession in the good areas. One of the sources of frustration that I'm seeing myself from this left-hand side from a Rangers perspective is Matondo gets the ball, Kieran Adell's trying to overlap him and just taking his space, killing the space, allowing Matondo to then come back and slowing it all down. If it was me, I would just be saying to Kieran Adell, just hold your run, let me take him to the byline, and then I'd be making my run into the box to try and get on the cross.
Well, half time at Ibrox, it is Rangers 0, Morton 0, and we will get the second half underway next.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard with Carl Robert Accident Repair. They'll collect, repair and deliver your vehicle, providing a hassle-free service. The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Rangers 0, Morton 0. It is at half time at Ibrox. Let's go back there with Roger Hanna and Alex Rae. Roger, are there any signs of any Rangers changes?
No, all the substitutes are inside, Andrew. I don't know whether that would lead you to believe that there are going to be changes at half time. It's been very ineffectual, very huffing and puffing from Rangers in the first half. Rabbi Matondo's created real danger down the left hand side, but other than that, there has been too much of a threat. Kieran Dowell's free kick, just an added time at the end of the first half, pushed round the post for Jamie McDonald. McDonald's been excellent. A fine save early on from Matondo, another fine save from Cyril Dessers, as Hugh touched upon. But Alec, you've got the best seat in the house. You're up here sitting next to me. If you were downstairs in that Rangers dressing room, what would you be telling the players?
Yeah, there has to be more in intensity. Obviously Matondo's the one that's driving at them, but when I look at Lammers and Dessers, I'm looking for so much more. Cifuentes is not really breaking into the box. There was an opportunity for Sterling down that right hand side. You know, there's been people crying out for this boy to come in and have a see what he can showcase. He's getting to some very good areas. Final ball's not been quite there as well, so they're looking for that little bit of quality at the top end of the pitch.
7 days ago, Rangers here in the league against Livingston, they huffed and puffed again for a while. Michael Beale himself said they only really picked up after the substitutions were made. Is he going to have to do that again? Is he going to have to turn to the bench once more?
Yeah, well, he's got real good options on the bench. You've got Lawrence, Hadji. Seema would inject a little bit of pace. Kemar Roof, for me, is probably the best striker at the club in terms of getting goals in and around about the box. Good, crafty striker, you know, so he may well be an option at some stage. The interesting thing from last week's Livingston, I think it was 78 minutes before he made the changes. However, I can see it coming a lot more quicker, because the one thing that will happen in the opening 15-20 minutes, if it remains the same, the fans will most certainly get anxious, because in the first half, the boy Robbie Crawford had a real good opportunity. You know, Jack Butland was caught in no man land. If he could get that shot off earlier, we may well be beginning at half time here with Morton 1-0 down, 1-0 up rather.
There's been 8 changes from the side it drew in Geneva in midweek. You said before kick-off, some of these guys would fancy their chances of maybe forcing Michael Beale's hand, convincing him they should be involved against PSV. They're not putting up much of a case so far.
No, I think the only player that's really caught the eye is Matondo. I think when you get the ball to him, and I was saying to you during that break there, is it a possibility that Cameron Blues may well get sacrificed, because they can't afford for him to get a second yellow card? It'll be more difficult, because he's getting absolutely terrorised down this side. And the interesting thing is, there was talk about Matondo actually going out in this window as well, Roger. He's not even in the European squad for the PSV game, I don't think so. If that's the case, then you're thinking, where do you get that injection of pace? Where's that quality coming at the top end of the pitch? So I'm not, in this opening 45 minutes, I've not seen it. Not seen enough of Lammers, not seen enough of Dessers. Cifuentes and Doyle are supposed to be the guys that are going and breaking and running off the front guys. I haven't seen the partnerships yet either.
You hear criticism often on the phone in of James Tavernier and Borna Barisic, but you see the performances first half of the two guys making the first starts, Dujon Sterling, John Leifeco. Does that show what Tavernier and Barisic bring on a weekly basis?
Yeah, that's what I've been saying for a long time, the quality they two guys bring. You've seen that again in the week midweek there in Switzerland. You know, the delivery, the goal for Tavernier. They bring some real quality to the Rangers offensive as well. You know, they sometimes get a bit of grief defensively, but in a day like today, they two guys would have been ideal for this. But it's an opportunity for Sterling and Ufeko to actually showcase what they've actually done. We haven't really seen it enough at the top end of the pitch, and they'll be looking to try and do that. So if you're talking about Michael Beale, they'll be looking for better quality from Sterling on the right hand side, and we haven't really seen that, and it's partly to do with Matondo being so wide. He's giving you that natural width that Ufeko hasn't actually been influential at the top end of the pitch.
You think PSV coach Peter Bosch would have somebody of a scout here today watching Rangers? He'll learn nothing from this, will he?
No, and it's very difficult to gauge. You know, they've had the majority of the line share of the ball, but they haven't really had that quality to actually cut them open yet. I think Dougie Imrie will be fairly comfortable in what he's actually seen. He'll be asking for the boys to do the same. The problem he has is he's actually got three outfield players on the bench, and at some stage he's going to have to mix it up a little bit because obviously fatigue will play a part here.
And David Martindale 7 days ago said he was happy 78 minutes. Livingston were still very much in that game. If Morton are in this game after 78 minutes, Dougie Imrie might fancy a shot.
No, listen, I said that. The longer this game goes on, you know, they didn't have a great deal. They had one or two set plays that came into the box. They had the long throw, and you're never quite sure. You know, we've seen that with Kilmarnock with a long throw, and they got the winning goal from that. So Dougie Imrie will be saying, let's keep doing what we're doing. We're fairly comfortable, and if we can create the odd opportunity, try and get up the pitch. And I agree with the guys in the studio. George Oakley has managed to get them up the pitch, which gives them that breather, and then he can play a little bit more in the Rangers half, albeit it's very fleeting. But they'll just be waiting to try and get that opportunity because they're just waiting for that break. And then you can see the anxiety of the Rangers fans. If it gets to 78 minutes, you'll very much hear the Rangers fans.
I was going to make that point. I mean, it's not a full house, but it is a decent crowd in here, Alec. They were beginning just to get a little bit anxious before half-time. Is it important that Rangers start at a fast tempo when they come back out?
Yeah, without doubt. You know, we've seen that in the last couple of weeks as well, when Rangers did start well in opening halves. Then they can blow people away, but they have to do that, Roger. Rewards mean nothing, and it's over to the players. As you said, there's 8 changes going into this game. You know, you're saying who's actually showcased what they can actually do with a view to Tuesday night. Out with Matondo, you know, obviously the starters, you know, your Golsons, your Butlands, I feel as if they're comfortable enough, but the rest haven't really done enough to say to the manager, I want a game on Tuesday night.
And if Dessers and Lammers had come and scored a couple of goals here, they may have put pressure on Danilo and Seema for Tuesday night. Doesn't look as if they're going to put too much pressure on them.
Yeah, well, that opening 45, I think, you know, it's fair to say that no one's really kind of chapping on the manager's doors demanding a game on Tuesday night, but you still get 45 minutes. I think things will open up a little bit more as well because the Morton players have put so much into that opening 45 minutes. 9
Rangers substitutes, a few of them just beginning to come out from the tunnel to start a warm-up. There can only be a minute or two left in the half-time break. It doesn't look as if there's going to be too many changes. Does that surprise you that Michael Beale is going, it looks, Alec, going with the same players that underperformed so much in the first half?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking at the players that are actually out there, Roger. I can see 7 players as Kmar Roof comes out with, I think that looks like Tom Lawrence. So there's, you've got 8 substitutes. I'm surprised because these guys have literally just come out of the bench. So out of the dressing room there as the Livingston players have come out, so they've effectively not had a half-time warm-up.
Grant Gillespie leading the Morton players out. Jamie McDonald coming out behind him, 37 years of age. He played in a Scottish Cup final against Rangers at Hampden for Queen of the South 15 years ago. He just keeps producing the saves. Yeah, listen, it's a good addition, you know, because he's got a wealth of experience at the back. I look about the squad of players, you know, Alan Power, a Warhorse. It looks as if Dougie's going to go for the type of players, guys that have been around the block who know what they're doing. Grant Gillespie's another one who's familiar, and then you've got George Oakley with that physical presence up there. These guys are all geared to kind of put a shift in, you know, kind of journeyman players. They'll be really enjoying this. They'll feel as if they can get one of the shocks. And if Jamie McDonald could get a result today,
yeah, at the twilight of his career, that would be one of the standouts for him.
Just to confirm, Andrew, Rangers are back out. There are no changes in either side at half time. Michael Beale keeping faith with the side that underperformed in the first half. They will need to start at a fast tempo. They will need to score a goal because they won't want extra time so close to PSV on Tuesday. We're back.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Goal flashes. With M&D Green Pharmacy. Planning your holiday? Get essential health advice and medication before you travel.
It's underway for the second half at Ibrox, as Roger said. There are no changes for Rangers. Is that a surprise at all, or is it a case of maybe putting the players back out there and say, you know what, you've got something to prove out there in the second half?
Yeah, I think that's the case. I think Michael Beale will have a few words with the lads. They're dominating the game, they've got all the possession. I think there's always a game plan here. You know, you'll have probably players that he's looking at. I want 65, 70 minutes in their legs. I want them a full game if they stay away for injury or getting sent off or whatever it may be. There'll be a game plan with each player. So I'm not surprised he's not made any changes. But if the game goes on our 15-20, certainly there will be a lot of changes.
Well,
made.
don't come running to me. I told you before the game started they should have played the PSV Eindhoven team today and readied them for Tuesday.
You also told us it was going to be 4-0 after you'd seen the starting team.
These two said 3-0, so we're all in the same sinking boat here.
I would just like to say that
to be fair, it could still well finish 3 or 4-0.
I'm staying with my scoreline.
So am I, because I think that Morton will tire, and we've highlighted it 4 subs, not a lot of changes there that he can make, obviously. I just think that as the time goes, and when that first goal goes in, we've been there as players and underdogs. It's like somebody bursting a balloon. You just all over the place.
That was several balloons. But look, let's not be kidded here. Michael Beale must have had stern words. When you started the season the way that Rangers have, away at Rugby Park, disappointing, got what they deserved. Then at home last week, kind of stuffy affair, but he admitted himself that he had stern words at half time and he got a response. Servette, yeah, they're okay, but they're no European powerhouse, and Rangers managed to get through against them, and now 0-0 against Morton into the second half. I don't care if it's his second string or his third string team, they're still good enough to be performing much better than they are.
I don't think he's keeping faith with these players. I think he's saying to them, you get yourselves into this mess, go and get yourselves out of it.
One thing Michael Beale has done in the last couple of games is changes in game have been effective. The substitutes he made towards the end of the Livingston game worked at half time. He made slight changes. He pushed the 2 central midfielders slightly wider, stretched the play, gave Rangers more width. They had more control in the second half. It'll just be the fact that the slow starts will be worrying.
Well, it is, because you know it's difficult for the crowd to get on side with slow starts. Look, if it's the opposite, you start quickly and you score a couple of goals and you're looking like, even if you don't score goals, but you're creating chances and you look sharp, the crowd will stick with you. If it's the opposite, the groans will come, and if you finish strongly, yeah, people got to be satisfied, but they'll phone the show and say it's not good enough from the start, and it's a chance for Morton there.
Jack Butland had some work to do there at the back post. It was sort of looping over him towards Robbie Muirhead. He just had to get his hand in there and put it out for a corner.
Long throw in, causing problems with the defence. Ball comes in at back post. I tell you what, Butland's got to deal with that. Muirhead,
I think it was Kirk Broadfoot actually that was stealing in there.
Tell you
what, sorry,
awful from Balogun. When you see Balogun as a central defender, as experienced as he is, that throw-ins came an awful long way, and he has totally misjudged it. And he's up, by the way, he's over Oakley's back. I wonder if Morton would have claimed for a penalty there, because
there it is.
That would be a penalty. There's claims for Morton. The game will
be.
play on, but of course there is VAR in this game. Rangers break up the pitch. I don't quite know who it was. There was a Rangers player that looked as if he kicked through the back of a Morton player. Big claims, but I think the match will be stopped here just for a check. We'll see the replay there. It was headed away by Sam Lammers. Dessers on second viewing, what do you think?
I don't know if he
that angle certainly wasn't conclusive.
No,
Cyril Dessers tries to clear it, doesn't get great contact on it. It's whether he makes contact with the Morton player as he's doing it.
I think Broadfoot plays to the referee there. I think he's playing for that. I think Dessers is very lucky, because I think that a couple of inches more, that's a certain penalty kick for me. But I think that Broadfoot's used a bit of experience here, seen that leg coming in. I think he's played for that. I don't think he'll be given.
If he goes to the monitor,
You know, the touch from Cyril Dessers, it's quite hard to tell whether there is contact between Cyril Dessers and Kirk Broadfoot. Dessers is kind of falling as he goes to clear it. He goes down, Broadfoot goes down.
That's not
I'm not
penalty
sure
kick.
Kirk Broadfoot gets a touch on the ball. I'm not sure if Cyril Dessers gets a touch on Kirk Broadfoot. It is quite hard to
What
tell.
are you thinking?
overall.
I'm saying definite no.
It's a long
By
way.
the way, it's,
Anyway,
the camera angle that we're seeing, it's inconclusive if Dessers get any contact on Broadfoot because the camera angle's coming from the opposite side. Yeah, I
Well,
think
I tell
this.
you what.
I think this is going to be given.
VAR review with M&D Green Pharmacy.
David Dickinson is going to the screen. He's going to take a look at it.
This could be the
we
real
need to
deal.
see this from another angle because I think Dessers does catch Broadfoot.
You think so?
The way Broadfoot goes down there.
This could be the real deal
Well,
for
that
him.
does that angle look as if Kirk Broadfoot is the one that gets the
Yes.
touch first, and
Yeah.
then Cyril Dessers kicks the side of Kirk Broadfoot's foot?
Without doubt.
I think Broadfoot gets there
You think
first.
that's a penalty?
Well, if Dessers had made contact,
Saying that, the only thing I will say, right, to give it away, Dessers goes down in pain, so he's obviously
Yeah.
kicked
He's
something,
kicked
Yeah.
that-
right?
He's
So
kicked
look at
Kirk
Dessers'
Broadfoot.
he's
face.
kicked Kirk Broadfoot's foot, and
Yeah.
that's why he's going
Yeah.
down in pain.
Yeah,
so
I've just-
it's
that
a
would
penalty
suggest that
kick
it's
all
a foul.
day long.
Yeah, I've just looked at the Rangers striker, and he gets down in pain, so
Yeah.
he's obviously
David
kicked
Dickinson
something.
makes
Yeah.
the motion and
Yeah.
points to the spot, and what an opportunity for Morton at Ibrox. They've got a penalty.
Do you know the difference between Morton and Rangers? It was just summed up there. Dougie Emery was in the Rangers dugout looking at their video evidence of that penalty kick, and Rangers were allowing them. But I think the guilty is here when the Rangers striker goes down in agony, which tells him he's made contact with something.
Well, the guilty bit was when Dessers has taken a swipe and caught Broadfoot. I thought in real time it was a penalty. I actually thought they got away with one just before with Balogun over the back of Oakley as well when he's mistimed that and he's over the back. If that's outside the box for me, Andrew, that is a free kick. So they've got away with one instantly. They've been punished, and now it's up to Gillespie to put it away.
The captain has to play
Grant
a captain's
Gillespie
part.
steps up to take one-on-one with Jack Butland. The ball is on the spot. Jack Butland moving about, trying to
Big time. I've
put
been there.
Gillespie off.
Stepped up to take a nervous situation. Don't get me wrong, I scored.
Hands on the hips. He runs up right-footed.
Oh, terrific.
Flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Rangers 0, Morton 1, and it's a goal from Grant Gillespie from the spot, and Morton are ahead at Ibrox.
Well, it's a shock in the making, but with an awful long time to go. But if the first half didn't waken up the Rangers players, that surely will. Because if this were to end with Rangers going out of the Viaplay Cup, this would be a very, very serious moment for Michael Beale, because his next game is PSV Eindhoven, then he's away to Ross County next Saturday at lunchtime, and then it's Celtic. He cannot afford this to be the start of a sequence of events that could cost him his job.
Is that 2 penalty kicks Dessers is given away? Did they give one away against
A
Celtic?
handball, yep.
Yeah, so the moral of their story is keep him up the pitch out the road.
Yeah.
He's not a good defender.
The one thing I will say about it, does Cyril Dessers' touch need to be better in his own box? Does he then give Kirk Broadfoot the opportunity to nick in because the touch is heavier than it should have been?
Yeah, and I think that sums up his all-round game since he's came to Ibrox. People say it takes time and maybe he will come good, but listen, he's got to learn his lessons quickly, and that just was a heavy touch, you know, pretty static when he goes and reaches for it. So Rangers, look, they've been way off it in this first half. They've not started the second half well in an attacking option, and defensively they've been so poor, giving away the penalties. The least they're worried is the throw in just before it as well, where Butland has to scramble across his goal to turn it behind, is poor as well. They really need to wake up and wake up quickly.
I've got to say there is positive of VAR, right? Because when I seen that first, I didn't think it was a penalty kick. If you look at the referee's positioning, he's got a brilliant view of that. Doesn't give it. But VAR quite rightly made him go over. Have a look.
But again,
It's the right
see
decision.
if he's got a brilliant position. That for me is concerning, because
He's
I was
not
the
giving
opposite
it.
for you. I watched that and I seen the way Broadfoot went down, and I thought that's a penalty kick.
But then we also watched several replays where it didn't look overly conclusive. It then took the VAR angle for us to determine that yes, Kirk Broadfoot got a touch, and yes, Cyril
But
Dessers actually kicked
that's
him.
from the angle we're at. If the referee is 10 yards away at a different angle where he can see it and refused to give that.
Well, I'll apologise to Broadfoot because I thought he used his experience, but when I see it from that angle, it's a definite penalty, no arguments.
Well, Rangers have a corner, but they will make changes after it. And almost a goal for Rangers there. Leon Balogun's shot comes back off the post. It's bundling about the box. It's pinball in there.
Well,
can Connor Goldson get the ball back into the box?
I thought the whistle had gone there because it looked like everyone had stopped and just allowed whoever it was that struck that against the post. Morton
was it
defenders
Balogun
very static there, and they've managed, I don't know how they've managed to scramble that way, but an opportunity for Rangers. Yeah,
no, it wasn't the post, it was a defender.
A defender on the line.
Yeah, he's got his left foot out there. Watch this, Mark.
He must have had some size of left foot.
Yeah. He's got white socks on as well. He's changed his socks at half time.
3 changes it will be for Rangers. Danilo, Sima and Yanis Hadji all waiting to come on, but it'll happen after this free kick from a wide position. Cifuentes looking to deliver, needs to be better than the last wide free kick that he took at the other end that went over the Morton bar.
Well,
it's a good ball.
It goes into the back post. It's Leon Balogun again, but he's just stretching and puts that one wide.
Michael Beale's response here is indicative of a man who knows that if he loses this game to Morton at Ibrox, he will be in trouble. His job will be on the line.
Will his job be on the line, do you think?
Yeah. No chance. No chance. Not a chance. No.
We'll get back to that in a second.
I think he'll come under pressure.
The Rangers changes. Sam Lammers is going to be one of the players.
He's offered nothing. He's offered nothing.
Potentially not. I wonder if there's maybe an incident here. The substitutions aren't taking place yet. Maybe David Dickinson's had word in his ear that he may need to go to the screen.
Someone get a hold of Balogun here at the back post when that Cifuentes free kick comes in.
I think he needs to stop the substitutions taking place in case it is a penalty.
He has to send somebody off or whatever.
Although the board is going up, although the players are being told to wait.
Well, Balogun came round the back. I don't know if they are checking it, but Balogun came round the back. I'm wondering if somebody's got a hold of his shirt just as he comes right round the back. Broadfoot.
Nothing in that. There's nothing in that.
That would be harsh, that.
Doesn't look to be anything in there, really.
No, I think that's good defending, let me tell you.
It is.
I think that's what that is.
Unless we're looking at the wrong
Maybe
incident.
we're looking at the wrong incident, but for Balogun, the camera's focusing on Balogun just now.
Yeah, David Dickinson's still waiting. Get another angle here. Leon Balogun's shirt is being pulled, and
out.
I think David Dickinson is going to the screen.
VAR review with M&D Green Pharmacy.
He'll give it.
From that angle, you can see that the defender has a fistful of Leon Balogun's shirt as he's going towards the back post.
Yeah.
Listen,
Didn't see that.
Didn't see it from the other angle, but when you look at it from behind where Balogun is, you can quite clearly see
got to give this, isn't he?
The defender's got his shirt.
He makes the motion, and it is a penalty to Rangers. They have one of their own. It's going to be a yellow card as well. And how frustrating will that be for Dougie Imrie? Because Leon Balogun is not scoring there.
No.
Whether his shirt is being pulled or not at the back post, he's stretching to get that ball at a tight angle. He's not going to score there.
You know what? Habits of footballers and defenders that go on all over the box, but just highlighted more, I think.
It's Kirk Broadfoot, and he's facing Leon Balogun. He's not looking at the ball. He then loses him, and he's trying to get back, pulls his shirt.
He's gone from.
He maybe makes it more obvious the fact that he's, almost chasing Balogun down, the fact that he's facing him and not the ball.
Yeah.
Hero to villain within the space of a few minutes. Broadfoot.
And someone that could go from villain to hero in the space of a few minutes is Cyril Dessers.
I've said McDonald. I've named these clubs. Queen of the South Cup final. Glad Roger's coming in that one. This could be a big moment in time.
Yeah, Cyril Dessers standing over the ball. Of course, the absence of James Tavernier means that it is a different penalty taker for Rangers. It could be a big moment for Cyril Dessers. He's looking for his second Rangers goal. Steps up, right footed. A delay in the run up.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
And just like that, Rangers are back level. Cyril Dessers from the spot sends Jamie McDonald the wrong way. Rangers 1, Morton 1.
And that's even before he gets all these subs on Michael Beale, because the subs, the triple substitution was an immediate reaction to or an immediate reaction of a man who knew he was in deep trouble, and that the penalty has brought Rangers back to equality. Half an hour at least to be played, but once again, it's like a word association test that every week on this programme. Rangers underwhelming. Alec Ray used the word at half time, and he's there to see this. So they've made an absolute meal of trying to beat a team from the Championship, and the game's still going on.
The only thing I will say is it's hard to argue with the 2 penalty kicks. The 2 penalty kicks, I think, once again, I'll go back to VAR. I wasn't a big fan. I'm starting to grow into it now. I think they've certainly got these decisions right. Broadfoot doesn't have to do that, but it's a natural thing for defenders when they lose the attacker. Well, obviously Balogun's in the attacking field, but he's panicked a little bit, tried to grab his shirt. I don't think Balogun's putting that in the back of the net, but he's gave away a penalty, and it's executed brilliantly.
Well, what about this for attacking intent as well? Because the 3 that go off, Dujon Sterling, Leon Balogun and Sam Lammers, the 3 that come on, Yanis Hadji, Abdallah Sima and Danilo. It looks as if Rangers have moved to a back 3. You've Lundstrom. Got Ifeko, Goldson and Lundstrom as the back 3, and then the rest pretty much have creative licence. There's a lot of attacking players on there now for Rangers. You'll have Cifuentes and Dowell as the 2 sitting midfielders, and
you know that change there. I mean, it just tells you a story what Michael Beale thinks. Maybe his new signings compared to who's in the building. We were chatting about Sterling fitting in at right centre back in a 3, and you know that he could cover the ground. But Beale's chose to take him off and put Lundstrom back there. Now, I know he's not been impressive as a fullback today going forward, but if you've brought him here to play a dual role, then this is the time. I know you want more, but has Lundstrom really been effective in this game? Effective enough to go, I'm going to move you from midfield to right centre back?
Yeah, but I think he's looking at the fact that what surprises me, right? Morton are going to play with what up front? 1. They're not going to play with 2. Absolutely no chance. He's going to a back 3, so you've got a 3v1 at the back, which Rangers don't need. But I think where he's
they're in again here.
Well, Jack Butland does well because he has to come out and smother the ball at the feet of Grant Gillespie, I think it was.
How static are the Rangers backline though? That is just a route 1 ball. It's Lundstrom, who I'm talking about as a right centre half, just eased out the way, and the Morton player coming round the back almost just gets enough on it to get it away from Butland.
It's smart attacking play, but John Lundstrom can't really get done like that. He's essentially just nudged in the back almost, and the ball goes over his head.
But he's not a centre half.
But I totally get that's what you're saying. One up front for Morton, change to a 3, get loads of the ball, and you can go for it. But why not stick with Sterling? You've brought him to the club to play that role. Why then move one of your midfielders into a form position, if you like, just to keep him on the pitch? It's different if Lundstrom was having a great game. You say, oh, his quality's been brilliant on the ball, we need to keep him in there, he's been effective at set pieces. He's not. I think
he must look just now, Mark, that Lundstrom coming forward for that position is a better user of the ball just now. I think that's the reason, because you don't go 3v1 at the back against Morton, who's got 1 player, if you're lucky, up top, if you're not expecting your 2 wide defenders to come into the middle of the park and link up play and have overloads. So I think he must look at Lundstrom as a better option in doing that.
Corner from Rangers there, headed over the bar by Abdallah Sima, his first involvement since coming off the bench.
You'd never have imagined 64 minutes into this game that Rangers would be in this kind of situation where they've made a triple substitution, the crowd are on their back, they were a goal down, they've rightly been given a penalty to equalise, but this is not the kind of game you want immediately prior to a Champions League match against PSV Eindhoven. And the possibility
of
extra
could be
time.
more of it as well, if one of the teams don't score before the 90-minute mark.
And I repeat, the triple substitutions, because Michael Beale's immediately thought, I'm in bother. If we don't win this game, I am in bother.
But see, even there's been loads of question marks about the players. Have they hit the ground running? Who's been effective? Who looks like they're going to be good? But even look at, they've got a chance here. Rangers
Danilo
style.
closing in on the Morton box, but his shot
good.
was just
an own goal,
deflected,
almost.
and well, Cyril Dessers was chasing
Free
that
kick.
down. It looked as
Yeah.
if there was a foul in there somewhere.
Well.
Just has a bit of a high five with Jamie McDonald after he almost bundled him into his own net while McDonald was holding the
Andrew, I
ball.
was going to say that just the style from Rangers, I'm struggling to see kind of what Beale's been working on. You know, over the summer it was all about get the right players in to fit his system, and it was going to look a bit different, and the system was going to be different. Everyone would be playing the same way. Struggling to see it, and
The shape keeps changing as well, which
there you go.
can't
Yeah.
help.
Well, that shows you that there's problems. I know managers and modern managers and top managers are fluid within games these days, but not to the extent that you change your shape when things aren't going right. You know, that tends to tell you plan A isn't going well an awful lot of the time, and you have to change to, you know, bring Simon or bring Matondo on and
Because
change that three at the back.
this shape is a drastic change as well, because you've got three at the back and then essentially just no wing backs at
Yeah,
all.
but-
That's not something that Michael Beale will have worked on.
Look, I agree. I agree with Mark in the fact that I watched Rangers in pre-season. We're now started the season. We've had the European games. I'm a little bit confused of how Michael Beale's going about it. But where I will agree with him is, if he's not getting anything out the players on the pitch, as a manager, you do change personnel. You do change the shape, because you look at the overall game. He's getting a better picture of it. He's sitting in the dugout. You've got to make the decisions to go and win games. It's as simple as that.
But then it does get pinned on the manager that,
Yeah, but
you know, if that's the third
hold
game
on.
running, for
Yeah,
example,
but-
that they've had to make the changes
Well,
because it's not been working.
He made the changes last week against Livingston and ran out 4-0 winners, and everybody praised him for him. That's part of being a manager. Sometimes, today he's made 8 changes to start in 11. Let's give him a bit of here, but this team should still be good enough to beat Morton. I'm not being disrespectful, but if it's not happening and you're struggling, you've got to, as a manager, change it.
Well, Rabbi Matondo getting to the byline using his pace. That one is just hooked clear in the 6-yard box.
I've not seen that, Joe, for the opening 15 or 20 minutes, but same results. McGrattan comes over to help Blues. Matondo just runs by the both of them. So Rangers have actually stopped feeding Matondo in this second half, which is odd, because that's where they were getting and at ease. That's the first time we've seen it out to his feet and allowing him to run.
Yeah, well, Connor Goldson goes
Oh,
along. It's
what a
taken
pass.
down. Well, it should have been taken down by Abdallah Sima in the box, but it was good defending in the end. We've seen Connor Goldson do that over the years with those long balls over the top. That one almost worked. It's now Danilo trying to sort his feet out in the box. He has the strike.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
And Danilo has another Rangers goal at Ibrox, his second in consecutive weekends, and that one just squirmed through the body of Jamie McDonald and in.
The captain, he's lying there with cramp, but he must feel worse. He's in total control in the ball in the Midland Park, gets caught up in 2 minds, doesn't move, falls over it, gets robbed, and Rangers punish them.
Having praised the goalkeeper all day, Gordon, do you think he might have done better there?
I think it was difficult, Hugh.
The
I really do. I think that it's through a crowded bodies. Yeah, he'd be disappointed.
what?
The goalkeeper.
What you talking about? The goalie. I don't know where to start there. Daz is right in terms of the skipper for Morton. Caught in 2 minds, but he just sits in the ground. Then the defender, a corner comes over, and he allows Danilo just inside him. Then the goalkeeper dives the right way. He's got. I don't think it's a good finish for Danilo, and it goes under Jamie McDonald. So
I think he's got the goalkeeper. I'm going to defend him. He's got a defender in front of him, and yeah, will he be disappointed? Yes, he will. But I think if you look at it before it gets to there, I'd be more disappointed that he got the opportunity, because Morton, under a captain who's gone off with cramp, he's put so much work in.
It looks worse than cramp, that.
I know. I think he's pulled his hammy by the looks at.
I think he falls over the ball at one point. He takes too much time, and when you take too much time against a team that plays above you, then they're going to rob you of the ball, and that's what happened there. And they get punished for it.
I think it was Dessers that actually worked back.
Yeah, it was Dessers that won the
Yeah.
ball and played the forward pass to Danilo.
So positives there. Dessers obviously were criticising him earlier for the part he played in the Morton goal, but he's stepped up. He's took a penalty. Like, he shows there that his work rate has improved. He's willing to work back and nick it off the midfield. And Danilo, look, the positives: Dessers, Danilo, on the scoreline again. Doesn't matter how they come about, they still adds to their tally. But like, Rangers fans will call in later about what they actually think of the overall performance. I mean, we've hit 70 minutes. Rangers may well go on and score another couple of goals, but it's far from good enough for a team the standard of Rangers compared to a championship side like Morton.
Yeah, Rangers will be hoping with the attacking players they've got on the pitch as well that they maybe can go on and grab another couple of goals by the end of this game with 20 minutes left on the clock.
You really have to assume that the Morton players will now psychologically and physically start to feel it. They were in front, they are now trailing, and they are tiring into the bargain. I can only see more goals.
And almost one there for Yanis Hadji. It was bounced to him in the box. It was a left-footed strike that was tipped over the bar by Jamie McDonald.
We like to call that straight down the throat.
Yeah,
goalkeeper, don't we?
That's all
Because that's what's happened.
But he's still got to make the save. Good strike from Hadji. Nice to see him back playing. Good strike, but McDonald.
The thing is, Yanis Hadji has been back for a while. Yes, he had a long injury, but he's not really had any
game time.
Much game time at all. It's been bits and pieces here and there. He's yet to really get back into things.
Yeah, you tend to, with all the new players coming in, you tend to sort of forget about Hadji a little bit. It's up to him to, stake a claim. He's getting his opportunity this afternoon with a substitution. Get on there and show the manager what you're all about. There's a big squad. You've got to fight for your place in your jersey.
Tom Lawrence will be a player that will be hoping to get some game time as well. It's been a long time out for Tom Lawrence. It was before the World Cup break last year. It was very early on. Was it around this time last year that he picked up an injury?
Well, his name keeps popping up because he looks so promising at the start of his Rangers career. We're analysing these new Rangers players that are coming in just now and saying that a lot of them are well off it. Well, Lawrence was the opposite, if you remember. When he came in, he looked a real creative spark, looked comfortable in the ball, looked like he just fitted this kind of environment that you're asked to play at Rangers. But he's had an awful long time out, so they'll need to be careful managing him back. But today, would have been the perfect opportunity, for him to get some game time. We might just see him yet.
Yeah, that would have been the ideal situation for Michael Beale, that Rangers looked more comfortable, and there is almost a third Rangers goal. It's Abdallah Sima, who was free in the middle of the box, but the header comes crashing off the crossbar.
He should score, no excuses. The ball's terrific, it's tailor-made. There's a chance here. Good defending.
Morton, nice play by Danilo there, just to play Morton through the legs of the Morton defender.
Morton have gone there.
Rotondo's shot saved.
They'll be lucky to survive the next 10 minutes here without losing a couple of goals. They're gone, they're all over the place. But Sima, you've got to score that. That's a to me, that's a sitter.
I think he was stretching a bit.
No, you've got to put that in the back of it.
Maybe it looked as if the cross was slightly too
high.
No,
don't make excuses. He's got to put that in the back of it. You're a professional footballer. The ball's perfect for you. You're 6 yards, even that. Watch this again.
The cross from
the cross is
John Lundstrom
brilliant.
on the right.
There you go.
The header.
Stick that in the back of it. Come on. There's absolutely. He's got to score that.
Okay.
Guaranteed, if you'd headed that off the bar, you would have been complaining about the cross.
Do you know, I missed one similar in the semi-final of the Scottish Cup, and I never played in the replay. It was the time of replays. It still goes down now. It's in the museum as the worst miss ever recorded in the history of Hampden.
Bad cross?
No, it was just a bad header for me. I done the exact same as him. I hit the bar with it. It was how I ever missed it, I don't know. That's why I criticise these people now. I took a lot of stick. That's
maybe one of the first times I've ever heard you say anything bad about something you've done on a football pitch.
Yeah, you're right, Andrew.
I don't know if the wind just. I was old balls at that time. You know what I mean? The leather.
The excuses. The excuses now. I knew they'd come at some point.
Yeah. Bit wet.
But Gordon's right in one respect. Morton are now exhausted, out on their feet mentally as well. And it's a matter of time before Rangers get another one.
Yeah, it was a nice link-up play between Danilo and Dessers, but it all got a bit crowded in the box there as they were passing back and forth, trying to create an opening, and Morton get the ball away.
Yep, the substitutes have been effective, but they came at a time where, the starting 11 couldn't get much worse. Morton were kind of tiring anyway, but they've just turned the screw. And we've been there. I've been there before at Ibrox. When you concede that goal, that Rangers go up, you tend to get dragged towards your own goal more and more. Even when you get possession and you look up, your striker seems an awful long way away. But look, they've done well. I think Morton have done exceptionally well. First half, decent in possession when they had that, defended well. Second half, created a few chances, obviously scored their penalty, but just couldn't hold on. I think, see, if you hold on for 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, that crowd gets on top of Rangers, you're in with a fighting chance, but they just couldn't hold on.
I think Dougie Emery will just go back to that penalty needlessly given away, that completely shifts the game.
Yeah, but you can't argue with it. His defender's been caught napping. Balogun gets away from him and he panics a little bit in the box and gives the penalty.
Almost a wonderful goal for Yanis Hadji there. A good turn in the box, tried to curl it with his left foot into the far top corner, but it's just over the bar.
Well, a great attempt, great imagination on Hadji's part, and he has looked very good since coming on. We were talking at the outset of this match about people who are playing themselves into contention for a place on Tuesday night, and he's doing himself no harm.
Quite bizarrely just took his shirt off after.
Get a shape similar to myself, Andrew.
Yeah.
Me and Yanis obviously been in the gym doing the same circuit.
He's certainly been on the sunbeds.
I think he was maybe taking his GPS vest off.
Is that what it was?
Yeah,
I thought he was turning his shirt inside out. He's a great effort, I've got to say. It's a good turn. He knows exactly what he's doing, what he's trying to do, and he's a little bit unlucky because Jamie McDonald's routed to his line. Absolutely no chance getting that.
You'd have hated those GPS vests back in the day because
I wouldn't have worn them.
They'll have told you exactly how much running you'll have done, and those stats will have been pointed at after every single game.
Let me tell you, what's the length halfway? Because every time I scored a goal I'd run back to the halfway line, so I put a lot of effort in. Let me tell you that right now.
It's more worrying that you were a footballer for years and had to ask the length of half a football pitch.
Depends what pitch it is, isn't it?
Well, they're all about 100 yards of football pitch
No,
roughly.
not at all. I'll bet you everyone's different.
Yeah, by
a couple of yards, Andrew's right.
There were certain grounds I didn't want to score it. But next for 10 yards there, I'll leave that one alone.
Close season. Imagine you getting one there. You'd be strapping it to the dug. Go and chase this tennis ball in the park to send my data back to the sports
As Lee
scientist.
Johnson would say, I'd be looking for a line.
But that's what happens in the game now. They get all these things away with them now, so there is no cheating in the close season. That's why pre-season is so over so quickly in terms of the hard running stuff. Don't need to do it because it's all monitored.
Set to come on now. Michael Beale really wants that third goal to put this to bed officially. So Kamar Roof is the next man in.
Yeah, just the 2 appearances he made, 2 goals he scored in 6 appearances last season for Kamar Roof. Has played once so far this season against Kilmarnock, but it is just the same conversation you have about Kamar Roof all the time, isn't it? It's whether he can stay fit or not.
Good player, good goal scorer for Rangers, but that is a problem. And you just think with every injury, I've been here before, Andrew, it seems to take a wee bit away from you, a wee bit of sharpness, a wee bit of pace, and Rangers fans will hope that's not happening to Roof. He just needs a sustained period in that team.
How old is Roof, Andrew?
He's 30.
He's still got a few years left in him, obviously, but
he's also not a player that relies heavily on his pace as well, which I think helps strikers.
I think he's a clever player. I think he's a good player. I think he's a good finisher. But it's just unfortunate the last while his injuries have sort of as Mark said, if you keep getting injury after injury, it becomes you get down on yourself a little bit. You lose that bit of sharpness as well. But he certainly knows where the back of goals is, and I think he's a clever footballer.
He's shown it in his first 2 seasons at Rangers. He was pretty much fit for both of them. Got 18 goals in the first and 17 in the second, which is a really good return.
Good, yeah, definitely a good return. And it's what Dessers and Daniil have to produce as well, and they've started scoring a couple of goals now. But I'll go back to it. When Morelos and Cholak left, Michael Beale had to have people to replace those. Now he's obviously looked at Roof and looked at those stats and thought, if we can get him fit, he might just be the answer along with the other 2 we've brought in. But he needs to get up and running. He needs to get fit, because he could be a big player if he is fit.
Yeah, just over 10 minutes left of this game. Rangers 2, Morton 1. Morton did take the lead from the penalty spot. Rangers got one back from the penalty spot as well. but are ahead because of that Danilo
And we're all
goal.
out in the predictions.
Yep.
Because Morton, no one gave them a chance of scoring. Well done to him. I think Dougie Imrie will be very proud of his players. I know that it could end up still Rangers could notch another couple of goals and make it very comfortable, but I think for 80 minutes they've been absolutely brilliant. I really do.
But no one will be fooled, Gordon, if they do score another couple in the last 10 minutes against a tiring team from the Championship. No one will be fooled into thinking, well, all things considered, it was a good performance. No, it was not. No, it is not. And the substitutions have proved that the manager doesn't believe it was a good performance either.
Is it not just the old cliche that managers use? It's a cup game, we've made 8 changes, it's all about getting in the next round.
I don't think Michael Beale's got that kind of latitude. I think the Rangers fans have been unconvinced by what they have seen all over the park this season, as Sima runs the ball out the ground
again. Just tried to stop the ball and put his foot on it, and ended up just kicking it out of play.
We'll find out at 5 o'clock when Andrew opens the lines. But I don't think any Rangers supporter would be fooled by.
Is that
any
Devine coming on as well?
Yeah, Adam Devine and Kamar Roof coming on. It will be Cyril Dessers who makes way, scored from the penalty spot earlier on for his second Rangers goal, and Adam Devine will come on as well. I wonder if Rangers will go back to a more conventional back four now, bringing on Adam Devine.
Who come off for Devine there, Andrew? Sorry,
He did not show us.
He's coming. Yeah, he's coming here.
Matondo.
It's Matondo.
Yeah, he was quiet second half. I
just didn't get the ball.
Blues would be delighted with the fact that he come out and didn't get the service and gave him a little bit of a whether he changed his position, Mark, and made it difficult for Matondo to get on the ball. So we'll give the right back a bit of credit, because we did, have a look at him in the first half, struggling.
You're giving him credit. The one time Matondo got the ball, he just breezed by him.
Only one time. But in the first half, he breezed by him about 40 times.
I know. Listen, I'm a Hugh in this one. I don't think Michael Beale can come out and say, as long as we're in the next round. Rangers fans can't be kidded with the performance we've seen today. For 70 minutes against Livingston as well, for 90 minutes against Kilmarnock. It's been slow, it's been pedestrian at times, seems disjointed. New players are taking a wee bit longer to settle than the fans would like. So, they must get better. They must get better quickly, because this team coming to town on Tuesday. Is it Tuesday or Wednesday?
Tuesday.
Good side, and it's a huge game for them. But not just that, Celtic round the corner. You can't be getting into the game against Celtic in this kind of form, because, well, we all know what will happen if Celtic play the way they can play. Then it's a dreadful start to the season for you.
You have to take one case at a time. PSV Eindhoven, qualification for the Champions League represents big money and prestige, and if you fail, okay, you go into the Europa League, and that's not a disaster. But Rangers believe that they belong in the Champions League. James Bisgrove spoke about it recently. Tuesday is vitally important, and this is not the kind of match you want immediately prior to meeting PSV Eindhoven at Ibrox.
But there's 8 changes in there, Hugh. There's going to be 8 different players probably on that pitch on Tuesday night. I take on board that they've not set the heather on fire with their fast flowing football. I totally agree with that. But Mark talks about, well, Celtic come to. I'm looking at Celtic last few games. I'm only thinking, well, they're pulling up trees as well. They're taking their time under Brendan Rodgers to settle into the league campaign and settle into the season.
I absolutely agree. That's why I'm confining myself to one match, PSV at Ibrox. You had the manager of Sturm Graz, who lost 7 goals to PSV over 2 legs, saying that he expects Eindhoven to go far in the Champions League. In other words, he's got them past Ibrox and the return leg in Holland and in the tournament. So Rangers can only look as far away as Tuesday, and they really need to make the most of their home advantage and still be in this tie when they go to the Netherlands.
If Rangers do get through this and win the game once,
this isn't over yet, because Morton have kind of
found a second wind.
We're forgetting it's only 2-1 here. Morton lump a ball into the box, anything can happen. So that's what I mean about Michael Beale. Can he just come out and say, oh, we got through? 84 minutes approaching on the clock, and this game as much as we think Rangers will run away with it, anything can happen here. Like Rangers scoring a third. We see
Seaman makes his way into the box. He's by his man. He has the strike. It's deflected.
What a save
What
that
a
is.
save that is by Jamie McDonald, because the deflection sort of popped it up in front of him. He'd already gone down, and he just uses his left hand there just to tip that one over the bar. He was already moving down to his right, managed to sort of stay up on his knees almost and tip that one over the bar. That's sensational.
As you
from
say in
Jamie
the
McDonald.
song, "Oh McDonald, what a save that was! What a save that was!" I'll tell you what, you guys might criticise him for Rangers second, but if Morton have any hope, he's just kept him in the tie a little bit.
Yeah, he has made a few good saves today as well. Jamie McDonald, the free kick from Kieran Dowell. There was a couple of chances from Cyril Dessers as well. He'll be hoping to keep this at 2 for Rangers and hope that his outfield teammates can do something at the other end. The pass to Yanis Hadji there, he manages to keep it in down in the corner. Look to make the space for the delivery.
Yeah, he did well there, because the pass to him wasn't great, and that kind of sums up the way Rangers have been, kind of, in possession, just a wee bit off it with their passing. A few players taking awkward touches. We've seen Afeka in the first half, we've seen Sima in the second, and running balls at the pitch. So these things need to get brushed up on, Andrew, quickly. That's a bigger picture for Rangers today. Yes, they'll be in the next round, maybe play much better in the next round in games to come, but they need to brush up on things.
You said this in the first half, but I just saw Kieran Dowell there again. He's had a quiet game, hasn't he? And in the second half, Jose Cifuentes has as well. I mean, apart from taking the set pieces, he's not really seen a whole lot of the ball, or as much as he would have liked.
I was astonished there, because I seen Down and I
That's
thought,
a great ball.
I thought he'd been subbed.
Yeah.
I really did. This is an opportunity.
Yeah, Morton are up the pitch. They're trying to get a cross in from the right side, and it goes on to the roof of the net, but it came off Feckle last, and it will be a corner for Morton in that corner where their travelling support are, who still looking fine voice with 4 minutes left to go in this game. A huge opportunity.
Yeah, great. It's a dog's dinner of a performance from Rangers, and they will have to get over the line, and that they need to survive this corner to do so.
It goes into the front post. It's just headed out for another corner by Jose Cifuentes. Not the best delivery.
Well, Muirhead tries to drive that right across the front of the 6-yard box. I think he just gets a wee bit too low. That's why Cifuentes is there, turns it behind. I wonder with his quality, Muirhead, if he'll just whip this in right in top. Yep, he does.
It goes again, and Jack Butland comes and
Too
takes
easy.
that one.
Yeah.
Too easy. That I thought that was a poor decision in a corner.
But at least Butland again, he's safe, secure, never flaps. But I'm not saying Rangers are holding on, because they aren't, but it's a scrappy end to a scrappy game.
Yeah, you would think though, Hugh, see at this point Rangers should pick Morton off. Morton are actually playing with 2 just up top, so it's not like a part of the bus job. They've got nothing to lose now. Quality of players Rangers have got. They should be moving it quickly and just killing this game off.
87 minutes on the clock at Ibrox. Can Morton create another opportunity? Can Dougie Emery's men get something, take this game to extra time? But it is Rangers that are advancing into the box. It's Cifuentes who was looking to deliver there. He was in space.
He's never
Thought he was maybe going to
like
go for the shot. Well, I don't think it was a shot though, was it? Was he not trying to
I
play
thought
that
just feed
across
it
the
across.
face?
Do you think he was trying to play across the goal?
Better play from Rangers. Move it quickly, 1-2, Cifuentes, and quite a lot of space here. Maybe he should have taken in a bit, but maybe it was a in between, crossing a shot, and the goalkeeper saves it pretty easily.
You thinking that was a shot?
Oh yeah, I thought he did. Yeah.
It was just the curl he had
The
on it
curl
made
away.
it look as if he
Yeah.
was trying to feed it in
Well,
behind
I'll tell you
defence.
what. If it's a cross type thing to try and get a striker on it, it's a poor one.
Almost a 1-2 in the box there for Rangers. It was Yanis Hadji trying to feed it through to Kamar Roof, but it was just too much on it.
What I tell you, defender there, the old Stephen Presley one again. He's going towards the touchline, just falls in, buys Morton a free kick. Now Morton will just have to lump this up. Hopefully somebody gets a touch on it and takes him into the attacking half, because time is running out for them. But again, we'll go back to it. Dougie Emery's side done excellent.
Yeah,
to
there's a
hang
lot
in
they
this.
can. There's a lot they can take from this, even if they don't manage to force it to extra time. Hugh, they've been very well disciplined and well drilled. They'll maybe have a feeling of frustration just with the way the goals were conceded?
I said before the game started that they were in it for respectability.
Oh, tell you what, good
that's a
ball in.
chance.
Good
And
ball into the box.
misjudged, wasn't it, by Connor Goldson, who got
yeah.
caught under the ball. And I think George
Yeah.
Oakley just wasn't expecting the ball to fall to his feet, and it did, and the touch just went out for a goal kick. But that could have been a big opportunity.
Yeah, I think you can forgive Oakley there because he fully expects Goldson to head that away, and it drops so quickly off the back of Goldson that it just takes him by surprise, bounces off his leg in the box and goes by for a goal kick. So
I think you make a good point about if this stays 2-1, see if you're Morton, you're sitting in that dressing room, you're thinking, look at the goals, penalty kick, right? And the second one, you're in total control of the game. The captain, I thought it was cramped, but he's obviously injured, and they rob him of the ball. 2 seconds later, the ball's in the back of the net. So I think Morton have got to take a lot of credit from this game. I think they've been excellent this afternoon.
There are ways to lose as well, and Morton, going into the next game, if they've gone to Ibrox and taken a real beating, then heads might have gone down, but they can be proud of what they've done out there.
Yeah, they leave with their heads held high, and they take the positives out. 8 minutes added on.
8 minutes added on. I suppose we had two lengthy VAR checks.
yeah,
So there is 8 minutes left to go at Ibrox.
I think the Morton players will like seeing that. I know they're trying to get back in the game, but when they're playing 2 up and the game is stretched, and listen, we've just seen one of those that I've been talking about go the other way. Defender just falls looking for the foul, referee's not buying it, and just past the post there.
I suppose even if
from Rangers.
you are exhausted, physically exhausted, then the 8 minutes theoretically give Morton the chance to get an equaliser. As you said earlier on, Mark, it only takes one cross into the box, and you never know.
Just you watch us shoot, the cramp will start.
Oh yeah, I fully understand that.
We've got another 25 minutes of cramp time added on.
But they're out anyway. So if they can do something miraculous in the 8 minutes added on, then fair enough. But they are out anyway. So if Rangers score their third goal, I go back to it. No one at all is being fooled. And I repeat the phrase, it's a dog's dinner of a performance from Rangers.
There's just no pace in this game whatsoever, is there?
Well, certainly.
Again, listen, I'm surprised. Look how easy that is for
know.
Morton to play it against Rangers. I mean, I'm looking at Danilo. They're just ambling.
There was just a close-up shot of Danilo there as
It's
Morton get
shocking.
into the box. It's cut back, but Cifuentes is there. There was a close-up shot of Danilo, and he actually looked exhausted for a player that came off the bench.
But Morton have went from McDonald to a corner of the centre half into the midfielder, out to the wide guy, without any Rangers player being within 10 yards. Now, I get it's Morton. There might be a wee bit of, well, they're not going to. But it's, again, you have to give the utmost respect. There might be a sting in the tail. You never know.
Here
And
is
here they
here.
come.
Yeah, well, Morton trying to get into the box there. There's a claim for a free kick outside the box for a foul, but it wasn't given.
It was Broadfoot that went down. Again, was it? Looking for a free kick. Not happy. Don't think there was much in that one, to be honest. I think he maybe just overran it.
The clock is running down, and it's running down on a problematic day for Rangers. You know, if Danilo is looking tired against Morton, he's hardly your favoured choice against PSV.
That noise you could hear in the background there was Gordon tucking into some dry granola.
Someone else tired. He's in stoppage time.
I need a sugar
He
rush.
needs-
This hasn't thrilled me at all.
Andrew found a box of granola in the studio. Could be anybody's. And
It's mine now.
he's just opened it and he's taking handfuls as the day is going on. That tells you how he loves his life. Just eats boxes of cereal out the box, no milk included.
That'll be someone's like expensive granola that they've brought in that they're saving for.
Oh, it's got Daz's paw prints all
Yeah.
over it now, so I
It's
wouldn't be
mine now.
touching it again.
I've had an update that your lunch has arrived.
Yes.
Yes.
This was a big thing earlier on when the guys arrived in the office and realised that they thought they were going to get some lunch, didn't bring anything to have by themselves, and Gordon started the show by just sitting down on his seat rifling through someone's stolen granola.
Well, look, that's paid off for us now, because the big beats got involved.
There's a header by Kamarouf just over the bar, peeled off the back of the Morton defender, but couldn't direct that one on target.
You keep lumping me in with these two.
That is true. In fairness, you did bring your own lunch.
However, in week 1, Hugh, I've never seen him so unhappy when he didn't bring his own lunch and we had a 6-hour show.
See, I'm showing myself to be a 21st century man with a pesto and pine nut.
Here's a chance.
Big chance for Morton here into the box. Feckle makes the challenge and gets his foot on the ball, and Jack Butland gathers. That was a huge opportunity for Morton. George Oakley was 1-on-1 with Jack
Just a long
Butland.
ball. It's absolutely just a nothing long ball. I'll tell you what, see Oakley, I'm disappointed for him there. I think he's got to do better.
Yeah.
See, Mark talks about going across a defender. You go across a defender, you leave him with nowhere to go. He's finished. Oakley doesn't believe he's going to put that in the back of net.
I'll give credit to Feckle there for getting back in.
Oh, they're checking it.
However,
they're checking this. I don't think
it's not an official check yet.
Is it not?
It's just a case of David Dickinson maybe just waiting. It was hard to tell from that.
Yeah, it's never a penalty kick. It's a great match.
Daz is right. Oakley should take it down. He should go across him and just put his laces through. Almost thinking he's got too much time there. But
can you put that down to a bit of fatigue? 94, 95 minutes
Not a chance.
chasing about.
You get the energy. You see the goals in front of you, eyes light up. You're thinking, here's an opportunity to get us back in the game.
You should get the adrenaline rush.
I'm with Daz and Hugh here. That's just, without being disrespectful to Oakley, quality of player. Now if that's midweek, it's in the back of the net, no doubt about it. If it's against Celtic, if it's against Aberdeen, a Premier League team, that's in the back of the net. So Rangers have got away with one here, and
that will be worrying at this stage in the game where Rangers cannot concede that it was just that easy to play a ball over the top.
Well, what did I say moments before? They allowed the ball unopposed to go from goalkeeper to midfielder to wide without any challenge. That time it went out wide and a big long ball's just over the top, unopposed again. So from a attacking point of view, it's been slow, it's been sloppy. From a defensive point of view, there is bags of work to be done.
Just a bit of frustration from Alex King there. Challenge on Yanis Hadji. He's picked up a booking for his troubles as well, and it will be a free kick to Rangers in an area where you'd think they'd deliver.
There's a booking, you've got to say.
Yeah.
Silly tackle, just a tire tackle.
Yeah.
But I was expecting, I know what you and Mark are saying, and I do agree, I was expecting more from Rangers today.
Yeah, well, Yanis Hadji standing over this free kick, as is Jose Cifuentes. You think it would be the left foot of Yanis Hadji. Can take set pieces with both.
Takes some effort from here, a long way on the angle.
Yeah, it goes for the strike.
That's silly.
Over
That's
the bar.
silly.
Over ambitious.
That's what did you want him to do? Play it short.
I would look for a training routine. I don't think he's ever got to beat.
It's probably not worth wasting one of the sort of training ground routines, is it, at this point in the game?
Well, you've still to put this game to bed. We've just seen 2 minutes ago that Morton had a great opportunity.
I think if Hadji played that short and they take it into the corner or something for time,
not saying
the
that.
fans would have went off their...
Hold on a minute. I never said that
What
for
were you
1
looking
minute.
for, a training routine?
Yeah, something into striker, a bit of movement round the corner.
What if they've not worked on that though?
Well, it
just
should.
shout to Beale, what's a training routine for this one, Gaffer?
They're a full-time club. They should know different set plays.
But quite often, can you not only really use them once and then...
But they've not used the one.
They didn't
today.
want to-
No,
they
but
didn't
I'm
want to
meaning that
ruin
if
their
they
one
use
there.
it, if they
Oh,
use
didn't
it,
want to show
if they use it-
PSV. Don't be silly. They're 2-1 up.
Clubs genuinely do that. They do their analysis and they'll see what they do from set pieces. That's not a ludicrous suggestion to say that PSV will be watching what Rangers do from set pieces.
So then you don't take any set plays from the training ground.
No, it's about picking and choosing when you do it.
Well, I'm saying he's picked the wrong option there, and it's obvious with the result because he blings over the bar. Doesn't even test the goalkeeper.
What have they done the training ground and they picked it up?
This magic training ground routine. Jack Butland was in no man's land there as the long throw came in.
That's the first big mistake he's made in the match. I'm really not sure what he thought he was doing there, but he comes out with no chance of getting the ball at all.
Yeah,
Well,
he was claiming he was pushed, but really he came for a ball that he was never getting.
I don't know what he's thinking
You
there.
just look at Morton's training routine there. Long ball
Yeah.
throw in. Rangers weren't expecting that.
Well, they've got a corner, goes towards the back post.
what
It's
a
over the
chance
head
again.
of Connor Goldson. It's taken down.
Oh, they're claiming
and
for a
over
penalty,
the bar,
are they?
they're claiming for
Broadfoot
something.
again.
Broadfoot's
Broadfoot it was.
He's claimed for everything, isn't he tripped in the way into Ibrox and wanted a penalty.
But look at that again from Connor Goldson.
I think it was maybe a corner he was claiming for rather than a.
Connor Goldson is
penalty.
so to describe to anyone listening, it's a corner kick, in swinging corner kick right to the back post. Connor Goldson's 2v1, but he still misjudges it.
It's the
Broadfoot-
second time in a matter of minutes that he's been caught under the ball.
Is that full time?
That's
Full
it
time
over.
at Ibrox. Let's speak to Roger and Alex.
Full time at Ibrox, Rangers 2, Morton 1. Rangers are into tomorrow's Viaplay Cup quarter-final draw, but they endured an almighty scare, Andrew, against Championship visitors Morton. Dougie Emery's side took the lead in the second half from a VAR-awarded penalty. They held that lead for 7 minutes before Rangers levelled from another VAR-awarded spot kick. Morton were level for 8 more minutes before substitute Danilo finally put Rangers ahead for the first time. But deep into 8 minutes of added on time, Morton still had a couple of chances to take this second round tie into extra time. Michael Beale had made 8 changes for the game, but his fringe men just did not stand up to the task. They'll now switch focus to PSV in the Champions League on Tuesday night, but this was another domestic display which was far from convincing. Morton's outstanding goalkeeper Jamie McDonald made early saves to deny Robbie Matondo and Cyril Dessers. Morton at the other end might have taken the lead when Robbie Crawford sclaffed a shot wide when he really should have hit the target. Dessers had the ball in the back of the net, only to be hauled back for a foul on Dara O'Connor. Matondo then threatened again, going round McDonald, squeezed in a shot from an acute angle, but it was taken off the line by Dara O'Connor. Kieran Dill's free kick pushed round the post. Just an added time at the end of the first half, but the real drama, that was all in the second half. Butland had to scramble along his line to push the ball out for a corner early in the second half, and from that corner, Cyril Dessers fouled Broadfoot in the box. Referee David Dickinson didn't spot it. He waved play on, but VAR Gavin Duncan asked him to go to the pitch side monitor. He took his time, he awarded the penalty, and Morton captain Grant Gillespie made no mistake, sending Butland the wrong way for 1-0 after 53 minutes. Leon Balogun hit the post as Rangers tried to get back into the game, and it was Balogun who had his shirt tugged by Kurt Broadfoot. On the hour again, Dickinson missed it again. Duncan sent him to the pitch side monitor again. He pointed to the spot. Dessers making no mistakes, sending McDonald the wrong way for 1-1. Michael Beale threw on Abdallah Sima, Yanis Hadji and Danilo for Lammers, Balogun and Sterling, and he got his reward in 68 minutes. Dessers found Danilo in the box. He worked it onto his right foot and drilled a shot under McDonald. There was still time for McDonald to make a fine save from Hadji for Sima to hit the bar, and then in those dramatic 8 minutes added on by the officials, George Oakley in the box denied by a great challenge by Rangers debutant John Leafeco. Broadfoot then flashed a shot high over the top from a corner after 98 minutes, but he just couldn't take the tie into added time. All the credit goes to Dougie Emery's men. The place in the last 8 goes to Michael Beale's men, but Alec Ray, it's another disappointing display by Rangers.
Yeah, very much underwhelming. You look across the board there. We spoke at the top of the show about who would be the standout players, who was going to ask questions of Michael Beale with a view to the Champions League qualifier this Tuesday night. I'm struggling to actually say it. I think Cifuentes actually gets man of the match, but to be honest with you, he wasn't great either, but that just shows you the overall performances there. You know, you have to give Dougie Emery's boys plenty of credit, you know, considering they were lacking in numbers on the bench as well, limited what he could actually do. A few opportunities towards the end as well, where they almost, Oakley, the straight ball over the top, defensively not good enough. Kurt Broadfoot gets an opportunity to then rifle his team level at the dying seconds. I'm looking at over the piece, and I think most Rangers fans will go away for this ground today thinking that was nowhere near good enough, and there has to be big improvements, because the quality of PSV to witness today, with the greatest respect to Morton, will be miles ahead of them. So they get a lot. You have to put it in context as well. There's a lot of changes today. You've got your two fullbacks who are pivotal to the way Rangers play. But in terms of this performance today, it was nowhere near good enough.
No Tavernier, Barisic, Raskin, Cantwell, Jack in the squad at all today, Alec. Does this performance show Michael Beale maybe doesn't have the strength and depth that he thought he had?
Well, the interesting thing about that is obviously when the substitutes come on, they made an impact. Danilo made the impact. Dessers managed to get a little bit of compensation. You're looking for relationships, and then obviously Dessers, again for me, had quite a poor game, but when you actually strip it back, he slots home the penalty, then he gets an assist. I still think there's so much more to come from him overall, because what you're witnessing there, for the money that they've laid out, and again I keep emphasising it's a championship club. The quality they're playing against, I would expect better performances.
PSV will be huge over the next 2 midweeks, but domestically so far for Rangers, a defeat at Kilmarnock in the league. They had to rely on 3 late goals against Livingston last week, and now they really did sort of struggle to shake off a plucky championship team in Morton, with Ross County away and Celtic here in the next 2 league games. Is that a worry for Michael Beale that they haven't hit the ground running domestically?
Yeah, well, listen, obviously the Kilmarnock game was a big setback for them, as we said earlier on. They're managing to get results here, Roger. They managed to get results against Livingston last week, but it's the performances. So, albeit they're getting the wins, I think the Rangers fans, I think Michael Beale will be looking for more. And I don't think that's too much to ask for when you're actually looking at the overall performances. As I said, you're looking for some sort of relationships. Danilo, and I'm trying to look forward a little bit to Tuesday night with Danilo and Dessersby. When you see that little link play in and around about the box towards the end of the game, would that be a partnership? Did Lammers do enough? I'm not quite sure.
And finally, a word for Morton. They took the lead. They lost their captain Grant Gillespie to an injury in the build up to Rangers' second goal. They only had 4 substitutes on the bench, 3 outfield players. What will Dougie Emery take from this?
I'd be absolutely delighted with the performance. And the one thing about it, you have to say, the Morton fans came in their numbers today, and credit to them. They got a lifeline with the VAR. We weren't quite sure because in real time, but obviously the guys were saying it's a penalty, so you take that, and then obviously the Rangers won. But I think overall, the structure, the organisation, and there were some really big performances in there. Kurt Broadfoot at 30, is he 39?
39,
You've also got the goalkeeper who produced a couple of, he did keep the goals, the score line down, Roger, because he produced a couple of really good saves. The one that bounces down, he managed to get a strong hands, really impressive for a guy of his age. So, it's great for these guys to come back and showcase what they do. I think from a Morton perspective, they need to get more bodies in the door to complement what they already have here, and they'll be trying to push for the playoffs again.
For 7 minutes, Andrew, there was a major League Cup shock on the cards. Rangers are through though to the quarter-final draw tomorrow. Rangers 2, Morton 1.
More reaction to that game at Ibrox coming up next, and we'll also go around the grounds for the 3 o'clock kickoffs.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard with Call Robert Accident Repair. Fault and non-fault insurance specialist. Robert will even pay your excess. The Clyde One Super Scoreboard podcast with Luker's Jaguar Land Rover Glasgow. The best of both worlds with Jaguar and Land Rover under one roof.